Tonight we are honored to have a champion going on the squad, and we recognize your achievement by placing an eagle next to her name. On lane 1, this lady is the first woman to win a regular division title, bowling a 300 game on road to an E12 series to win the 2006 singles event. She is the 1988, 2000, and 2003 USBC Queens champion, and won gold and silver medals in the Baton and WTBA World Championships from Macpherson, Nevada, USBC Board of Directors member, and USBC Hall of Famer Wendy Macpherson. We also have 6 celebrities going on this squad. On lane 1, this lady won a bronze medal in the 1997 WTBA World Championships from Orlando, Florida, Kendrick Gaines. On lane 1, from Perth, Australia, USBC Hall of Famer Carol Gianotti. On lane 2, this lady won silver and bronze medals in the Baton WTBA World Championships from Canton, Ohio, Rocio Westrepo. On lane 2, this lady won gold, silver, and bronze medals in the Baton WTBA World Championships from Keller, Texas, USBC Hall of Famer Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. On lane 2, this lady won gold, silver, and bronze medals in the Baton WTBA World Championships from Arlington, Texas, Tanel Milligan. On lane 5, this woman over 300 game in the 2001 doubles event from New York, Pennsylvania, Daniel Snedden. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand to honor America playing our national anthem. ladies and gentlemen, flag photography is not permitted during tournament competition. Brunswick, we're ready to begin competition. Bowlers, it sounds belly, they begin with lock from their bowling.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get underway here at the Baton Rouge River Center. 2012 USBC Open Championships. This is Matt Canizaro, USBC Open Championships Media Relations Manager, alongside Media Relations Specialist and Vice President of Longevity here at the Open Championships, Emil Williams Jr. We're going to be with you here for the next 3.5 hours or so. And we have quite a show tonight. Everywhere we look today, it seems like there's a familiar face and a very talented bowler. So we'll have all kinds of action. But we are here tonight, tuned in to see USBC Hall of Famers Wendy Macpherson, Carol Gianotti, and Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. And they're two very talented teams. We'll get to those lineups in just a minute. But, right now, it's a who's who of women's bowling on this pair. And then just a couple pairs down, Brandy Wolf, the sister of superstar left-hander Brett Wolf. And a couple pairs down from there even, Jeannie Franklin and Tina Stickney, two very talented ladies as well. So all bonus coverage, of course. We tuned in especially to see Wendy and her crew. And at the last minute, found out that Carolyn Dorin-Ballard and her team was going to be the crossing team for tonight, and then some other great players all along the way here. So, Emil, what's going on? It looks like it's going to be a pretty exciting evening.
Well, definitely, we definitely expect the excitement. You can see well, you can't see. Eventually, we might let you see. Packed house. Definitely the grandstands in front of us.
No kidding.
Are quite packed. So the word is out. Not only are the stands in front of us, but people have lined up below on ground level to watch as well. So everybody is out tonight. Good Friday night for bowling.
It's really unbelievable looking around and just the amount of people here. We knew we expected to see the stands overflowing a few times this year. One in particular is when the defending team champs, Jeff Riggles and those guys were in town. We've seen it before, but I think there's more people here tonight to see these talented ladies, and perhaps this is the next step in the revival of women's bowling. There's obviously the desire to see them bowl, and we're definitely going to see some very talented players. We'll try to get it done here on lanes 1 and 2 at the Baton Rouge River Center tonight.
Well, as you know, Matt, this is always a great way to display some of the world's best talent. And especially, these are 10 talented women here who you may have seen before. Many of these women have won national titles, of course, and they may be familiar with some of these names, but we'll read them off to you in just a second.
Well, I think this is an amazing week or two in general for bowling. Lucas Wiseman just wrapped things up in Las Vegas at the USBC Senior Masters, where we crowned 2012 champion Mike Edwards. He's a rookie out there on the senior tour and got it done right away. So he took home that title, and of course we're here tonight. And then Lucas headed out to Reno, Nevada pretty soon for the U.S. Women's Open. So all of these ladies that were watching tonight, they'll likely head to Reno in the next few days, check out the USBC Women's Championships at the National Bowling Stadium, and then get ready for the U.S. Open. So all of that also on bowl.com. Lucas will be at the U.S. Open to bring that to you live from the stadium. And the TV finals will be outside under the arch. So keep an eye out for that in the next week or so. And I understand there's some kind of golf tournament or something going on at the moment. So in between bowling, feel free to check that out to pass the time. But definitely a lot of great bowling action live here on Bowl TV. And if you don't want to miss out on any of it, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BowlTV, and get alerted to all of the great upcoming events. And if you miss anything, it'll all be archived down there for you to see. But right now, we'll turn our attention again to lanes 1 and 2 here at the River Center. We have Classic Greenfield and Ballard's Bowling Solution. And Emil is here with the lineups.
On lane number 1, it is Classic Greenfield, of course, leading off. USBC board member, Hall of Famer. First woman to win an Open Championships title on singles, 308-12. Back in 06, that is Wendy Macpherson, followed by Jill Weber, Gina Darshevsky, Kendra Gaines, and Carol Gianotti, also a USBC Hall of Famer. And for Ballard's Bowling Solutions, another Hall of Famer who's actually up right now on lane 1. CDB, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, also the head of coaching, the ITRC. Leslie Bone, wife of Parker Bone III. Kathy Dorin-Lizzie, Rocio Restrepo, and Neil Milligan.
Pretty much, Emil, you just read off the who's who, the history of the PWBA, all kinds of titles and talent.
Well, I tell you right now, as you put it out there, you won't find a pair of lanes not too much better than what you get right here on 1 and 2. That goes for men and women.
Well, last year we tuned in to see Carolyn's team. They were with us at the Open Championships in Reno. And this year, as we said, we had Wendy on the schedule, and he got a bonus. So I would probably put these two companion teams up against any two teams at this event. And as we've seen throughout this year, the basic strategy for many, many teams has been to break the lanes down towards the outside part of the lane with duller equipment, and then slowly ball down and then migrate left eventually. The goal there, of course, is to open up the lane. You break down the oil pattern to the outside, you create some room for yourself and your team, and you can miss to the right as the day progresses. And for these ladies, typically their games are going to be straighter anyway. So it's almost a built-in strategy for them. They're going to play straighter and to the outside part of the lane, and we should see that really work to their advantage. Now the newcomer to this group, Rocio Restrepo, a very talented collegiate player at Wichita State, and a member of Team Columbia, along with Clara Guerrero and Sarah Vargas for a number of years. Her accolades go back to 2003 internationally, at least with the adult team. And while she doesn't have the experience of the rest of the group, certainly she brings quite a bit of talent. And that's a heck of a pickup at the last minute as a substitute. Typically this group also includes Maxine Nabel, who hails from Australia, along with Carol Gianotti. Maxine obviously not here tonight. That's where Kendra Gaines comes in. And then Rocio stepping in for Andrea Fleming, who is married to Paul Fleming, another familiar name. So there you have it. There's the history.
Well, you know, that's a good group to be a part of. Definitely A+ on the substitute picking up. Rocio, very talented, as you mentioned. Saw her a lot during her time at Wichita State.
And not too far from us, PBA star Stuart Williams is here to watch Tina Stickney tonight. He is not eligible to bowl in this event, and I'm sure there's quite a few people here thankful for that as an exempt player on the PBA tour. All he can do at this point is watch, but I'm sure he'll have some advice for Tina and her team as well. So we'll keep our eyes on them. They're not too far away. For however it worked out, there's a ton of great bowlers within eye shot at this point. So looking forward to an exciting evening. And right next to us, Brett Wolf, 2002 Masters champ. We saw him on our broadcast not too long ago. You can check that out on Bowl TV. And Brett, I'm sure, will be joining us as the evening progresses as well to give his insight from back here as opposed to last time when he was on the lanes. There's a great shot from Macpherson who has dominated this event in recent years. She became the first woman to take home a regular division title back in 2006. She came in on the second to last day of the tournament and shot 8-12, which included a 300 game, to take the title by 1 pin over Norm Titus. And Wendy actually left the bucket in her final frame and just needed to get 3 for the win, and she did that. Of course, she is a great champion, so took home that title, and came back in 2008, added a 299 game, and again last year during doubles, 299 again. So she seems to be right on spot at this event, looking to lead her team now. As you see, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard with a stoned 8-pin. So these ladies right in the pocket, throwing the ball great. It's just a matter of if the pins will cooperate. So we could probably spend the next 3 hours just reading the resumes of these players.
They are quite lengthy, of course, and many of whom you haven't heard of, but if you're tuning in and you don't know any one of these 10 individuals, I suggest make your first stop over to bowl.com and look up Team USA, their past and present. You'll see many of the familiar names here. Also look up some rich PWBA history as well. The Queens and the U.S. Women's Open for starters as well. I mean, these ladies have accomplished a lot in their careers and they're still going.
So it looks like Gina Dereshevsky off to a hot start with the first 3 here in game number 1. See if the rest of the team can get on board. The number they're chasing, of course, 3401. That is a huge number this year. And just talked to some folks who got done bowling, and it seems like the more people get done, and they realize what a sizable number that is. They might not think so. Obviously, if it was shot, it's out there. But they get done and find it awfully humbling and give their respects to that team of youngsters from La Crosse, Wisconsin, fresh out of college and in position at this point. We still have 25 days to go, but in good position to take some Eagles back home to Wisconsin.
Well, I'd have to think that they had to probably share some information or at least talk to some gentlemen that bowled earlier today at 2:30. Badger Pro Shop, one of Madison, or excuse me, Monroe. Shot 32.66 to enter the top 10 today.
Well, those are some familiar names, of course, that we've seen the last couple of years. They used to be called the Warhawks, and that team led by Jonathan Shallow, and they finished 3rd in 2010. And Shallow made a quick name for himself at this event. 2100s back-to-back in the first 2 years of his career, I believe, was 2009 and 10, and I really think that year it was inexperience that determined the fact that they ended up in third place. Had they been around it before, I think they could have held on and finished a little bit stronger, and very well contended for that title. But third place finish that early in your career, and clearly they proved again today that that's certainly no fluke. And we already know Wisconsin produces some very, very talented players. They take this event incredibly seriously. They prepare all year round. Somebody said earlier, you know, in Wisconsin, this tournament's almost like the Olympics. It's just, this is what they prepare for. This is what they bowl for. You know, everything is working up to this event, and the youngsters, they get that. You know, they're right out of college, and they're contending here, and they're getting it done.
That's a great comparison analogy right there. I mean, it's no doubt how it's been documented by several people you talk to from that state, how they feel and what they do to prepare for this event. And it's not just a regular tournament for them. They have plans to win, and they usually put themselves in a very good position to do that. But I predicted, though, I saw these gentlemen in college as well. Those gentlemen, went to University of Wisconsin Whitewater. I saw them on the collegiate circuit a lot. Talking to Mr. Shallow, also saw him on some junior stuff. Ryan Kohlmeyer, Chad Vincent. Well, but I predict every time I see them bowl, they come in the top 10. Or they finish in the top 10 at least for that day. So I mean, it's one of those things to where, you know, at some point they're probably going to put themselves in the top spot. It's just a matter of when.
Well, today they got off to a little bit of a slow start, and we've talked so much about how crucial game number 1 is, especially at this year's event. And that's the period of time where you're still trying to open up the lanes a little bit. You might sacrifice some pins here and there. And it's the team that can get it done in game 1. That's really what it's starting to look like, or continuing to look like. And they started with 970 and then shot 1160, 1120. So, I mean, the goal is to come out with a big first game, 1050 or so, and then expect the lanes to open up and take it from there. Of course, another 100 pins, they still would have been a little bit short. But I'm sure they'd love to have that first game back, as would many teams. But it's the team that can get adjusted early and get it done. That's going to come out on top. Nicholas J. Proshov, of course, consistent from start to finish, 11:15, 11:65, and 11:21. So they didn't mess around, and they had no issue. They got the start they wanted, and that just gave them tons of confidence. And that was that. And I wonder if we can see that here tonight, as these ladies also worked very hard. They just got done with the USBC Queens, so I'm sure they're in tip-top shape, but of course wanting to be ready for the upcoming Women's Championships and US Open. We see Macpherson just up on the right lane, left the 610. She has 1 strike so far tonight. Leslie Bone mixes them up on lane 1. Coming off an open frame. So some real simple keys here at the Open Championships. Of course, you want to stay around the pocket, make your spares. And in the team event especially, wait for the lanes to open up and then take advantage of it. And we do appreciate everybody joining us. So it's quite a crew in the chat room tonight and in person here at the Baton Rouge River Center. Once again, Matt Canizaro and Emil Williams Jr. We are behind lanes 1 and 2, watching some of the best lady bowlers in the world. Gary Brown, Dave Bartlett checking in from USBC headquarters. Those two gentlemen also instrumental in the USBC tournament side of things. Gary on the collegiate side, Bartlett, a little bit of everything, more on the youth side.
Great shot from Dorin Lizzie. Like she might have went to something with a little more surface on it. First couple of shots, a little light, but a washout or two there. A little bit more surface. Patted a little earlier. And that was 10 back. I spent some time in my day with Gary Brown. He's another individual who does a great job in what he does and all that he does, especially putting on the postseason events for USBC Collegiate.
I knew this was going to come up. There's Emil.
Hey, man.
He's gonna brag again.
Listen.
Oh, I got a collegiate title.
Listen.
Gary Brown gave me my big trophy, the Helmer Cup, and put the medal around my neck. You know, I'm the best bowler in the booth. All right.
Notice, audience, fans and viewers, listeners alike, that I didn't say any of that. There's the gentleman to my left as we look out on the lanes, who always manages to bring that up. Myself, I just don't say anything.
That's how it works. Emil, the modest guy, trying to stay humble, and I get that. But I'll do the bragging for you, because I tell you what, again, if I ever won an Eagle here at the Open Championships, I would carry that thing. It would be around my neck.
Word on the street is if you win an Eagle, you have to get a tattoo. That's the word on the street. I'm not the one that gossips, so you didn't hear that from me.
Check it out, Emil. We've got some international viewers tonight. We've gone global.
Well, we made it then.
Almi Guerra
It's
checking
official.
in.
We made it. Guess I need to get a passport. There's a strike for Kendra. She'll take that. Not very happy with it, of course, but they'll never discount an X on the scoreboard. They'll take it, especially early in the ball game.
Now, Emil, I know you're probably just a kid, and I don't want to age these ladies at all because they all look very young, and of course they haven't aged a day. But there was a point where we spent some nights watching them on ESPN on the ladies tour back in the 1990s. I know you might have been watching Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers at that point, being a youngster. But I certainly missed those days and definitely looked up to all of them. And just as I always say, the opportunity to know them and the fact that they come looking for me when they come to this event, that certainly means a lot. And still a little bit starstruck, but yet they're asking for us, and it's really kind of cool.
Well, let's get they asked for you because you're that guy. Let's not shortchange Matt Cannizzaro, ladies and gentlemen. This gentleman is a celebrity. I'm telling you. I mean, everybody asks for him. It's not just.
Well, I think it's because I have locker tokens. I purposely keep a small stash.
Put that in the world. It's out there now. It's out to the world, man.
Yeah, they're not looking for me. They want to see the view out of the office. They want to see if you're here.
You know what? That is a popular attraction.
So that's a big bowling alley out there.
From the office.
The view from the office, and check for a locker token.
But back to your point, though, that you're 100% right. I remember as a fan of the game, wanting to get better as a bowler, especially at a young age. You watch anybody who's accomplished something, who's on their way to accomplishing something, especially if they're on national TV. Usually that means they kind of know what they're doing. And so it's always a pleasure to watch these ladies on television You know, remember the streak, if you will, that Carolyn Dorin-Ballard had on TV and winning everything in sight. Right before the tour had an abrupt end, but hopefully we'll see something like that here again eventually. And but all of the wonderful tournaments and events that have been on and have been put on and created for these women across the country to give them an opportunity and outlet to compete. So
I definitely think that women's bowling is certainly on the upswing. And some great events. Paula Verdad out in California, coming up with some great events for these ladies to bowl in, and of course the women's championships, US Open, the Queens. So certainly a lot for them to work for and look forward to now. Gianotti stepping up on the left lane. She is the 1989 USBC Queens champion. Made the Queens TV show again in 2008. She still got it and inducted into the USBC Hall of Fame last year. And a lot of 7-pins so far here on lane 1. The ball not quite finishing. And if those 7s start to cooperate, I believe we can see some pretty good numbers. Youngster Rocio with the flat dime there on lane 2.
That's a good young talent right there. If you haven't seen her, and I would assume some people haven't had a chance to see Rocio, but she is a dynamite talent. Always admired the way she threw the ball. Very aggressive. I tell you what, the stands couldn't be any more packed.
Let's see. Just in the 2 seconds that just passed.
I would show some of it, but then you'd see a lot of the back of people's heads, and we don't want that.
I am glad that this thing is very well built.
Listen, we got folks sitting down on the stairs.
So who do we got here? From USBC, Mike Donahue, former USBC Associations guy, Bob Schoeneman, Crystal Schoeneman, bowled in Florida State, and another top young lady. Butch Cormier, local Louisiana State Hall of Famer. Todd Minotti has 2 300s here at the Open Championships. Greg Snee, arguably the best left-hander in Baton Rouge. Steve Sutphin shot the first 800 of last year's Open Championships. His wife Maria right next to him. Jason Milligan, who was such a big fan of women's bowling that he went out and he married one of the top ladies out there on the PWBA tour there. So the husband of Tennille Milligan.
Is that it?
There's Brenda Padilla and Steven Padilla, the 2009 regular doubles champs, walking by. They bowl tomorrow. They still hold the doubles record here with 1566. So we've got a little bit of everything. And earlier today was like a Florida State bowling reunion as well. The Seminoles all in the house.
You associate with them?
They're nice people. I can't
Okay.
really be critical of their choice in schools. But great people nonetheless. Always good to see them. So a little bit of everything here in Baton Rouge this weekend. And a lot of folks coming up to us and saying congratulations on the good year. We're in the home stretch. But certainly with the amount of talent still to come through this building in the next 25 days, certainly not a home stretch of any sorts.
Hey, is this mic on, or are we just going to hear Canizaro talk all week? Just curious.
Jason Milligan jumping in on the wireless mic.
I thought it was open mic night. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was just sitting there, so I jumped in. Hi, guys. Good to see you again.
I was snapping my fingers. Perhaps that gave you the illusion that it was open mic night. I apologize.
That's all right. I appreciate it. You know, I mean, I'm easily confused, so good to see you guys again. I was here a short week ago, so 1,000 miles each and every weekend is good for your car. Jeez, I've killed the crowd. Now everyone's quiet. My bad.
Well, we're addressing a technical situation. I guess some folks are at home trying to watch on their mobile devices, and YouTube has made some changes as of late. And I guess at this point in time, it is not possible to watch tonight's broadcast on your mobile device. But everybody, hurry up and rush home. Get on the computer, youtube.com/BullTV. And if you do miss any of it, or if anybody's out there and asking, let them know. The archived video will be available on Bull TV later this evening, hopefully, if everything goes well. But currently, mobile devices not happening, and we do apologize for those technical difficulties. We'll definitely talk to YouTube about getting that straightened out.
You guys run a pretty tight ship, so technical difficulties, normally that's right out of the league. Actually, the whole reason I came back was to see Emil. I saw Matt last week, and Emil was out, and I got to watch. I went to watch our broadcast stuff from YouTube. Well, games 1 and 3 anyway. I didn't watch game 2. I know what 160 looks like. That I've done that plenty. But once I came back, I saw Emil. I was like, man, where were you? You ditched me this year. Come on.
I know, man. I apologize for that. All while I was at home, I just kept thinking and how I just, probably disappointed you and whatnot. And I carried that with me for 3 days.
As you should, by the way.
I know. I didn't think I would see you today, but now that you're here, I think you should tell that story you told me. That was quite funny.
That I can do. I was lucky enough to share the booth with Mr. Canizaro last year, and Emil was hanging out and allowed me to be on the mic. So I have limited experience with Emil, even though he's a good guy. Although we did have to watch him eat cheese fries and candy bars and everything last year while we were stuck being hungry and thirsty and couldn't even get bread or water.
Yeah, Emil has a tendency to do that. He'll
I've got
just
some
show
grapes
up.
up here now if you like
So
some.
I looked over at one broadcast this year. He's over there eating a bowl of gumbo.
Like I said, he's always got food. Anyhow, I come walking out of the squad room, and I think to myself, there's Emil. I'm going to go up and say hi. So in my nice, smooth walk up, hey, man, how's it going? And it's not Emil. The guy looks at me like I'm crazy. I apologized and said I thought it was someone else and walked out. This is why I don't say hi to people when I'm out and about. So then I come walking out back into the squad room, see another gentleman with the same gentleman. They look identical, i.e. they're twins. Neither one is Emil. Therefore, I quit saying hi to anybody.
I did hear that about you, actually, because there's some people here who were actually looking for you and saw you and said, oh, yeah, I saw Jason Milligan. He just walked right past us. Well, Jason's not as snooty as he comes off.
Ouch. Well, you're right. I'm not as snooty as I come off, but I didn't realize I came off snooty.
I mean, people were just waiting. They knew you were coming in, and they wanted to see you and talk to you. But because you're married to Neil Milligan, of course.
Actually, I have another really good story about that. So we're bowling on 47-8 last week, bowling singles and doubles. And a group piles in behind us because I've got Steve Smith on my pair, and I've got Terry Taylor and Chris Hibbets. So the group is stirring about. The story goes like this. One gentleman says, oh, that's Steve Smith. He's won a couple of high roller sweepers, and he's on Team USA, and this guy can play. He threw that one good, the next one's soft. I've seen him bowl, yada, yada, yada. So another guy in the crowd looks up and says, wow, that's Terry Taylor. I think they finished in the top 5 in doubles a couple years ago. So, wow. These guys know their game. Another guy from the back was up goes, that's Chris Tibbetts. He just won a regional Southwest. Man, they got some players on this pair. Not even a beat of a heartbeat goes by. The next thing you hear is a guy go, yeah, that guy right there, that's Tennille Milligan's husband.
Well, and your daughter, Abby's here as well tonight, so that makes you the third most popular Milligan in the building.
And probably the third best bowler, but that's okay. I appreciate Abby taking a break from me and beating up on some of our friends that are in the crowd watching, letting me have a second to be on the live stream. You know.
Well, while we're here, let's talk about some bowling. Now we have Jill Weber stepping up on the left lane, yet to strike here tonight on lanes 1 and 2. That one's wide right.
I got to tell you, Matt, just from my experience last week, especially game 2, it seemed like this year your good shots would get there, your bad shots had no chance. I mean, it wasn't even close. You wasn't going to pinch one off a little and trip a 4. You were going to pinch one off and run over the head pin. If you got one a little firm, you were going to beat the 3-pin to death. Well, on my side, I forgot you're left-handed.
Believe it or not, while you're on that, we'll turn our attention back to the ladies here in just a second. I had 5 great frames at this year's event. Started with the front 5, and believe it or not, the next shot nailed the 3-pin. So left-handed, not a good shot. It was a runaway 3-pin. And that was the beginning of the end for me. That's why I get to stay up here and talk about all these great bowlers instead.
You said you had 5 great frames. I was going to ask you to actually bowled all 9 games, but that's fine.
Well, based on my all-event score, I like to tell people I sat out the last game, and it's a pretty good score.
Claim an injury or something like that.
Another good shot from Gina Shevsky. She's got another 3-bagger. She's struck 6 out of 7 times thus far. Only open coming in the 4th frame. Now here's Rosillo up on the right lane.
That's what we ran into. Is once you got them in front of you, no chance. Kendra Gaines stepping up on lane 1. Shout out to her hubby and her 2 little ones. Let's see if Rocio can fit this in.
Definitely a tough spare there, the baby split. And again, 2 of the keys in this event is, as we see, get off to a strong start is probably number 1. And keep that momentum going. And of course, on a difficult condition like this, it's difficult to strike sometimes. You got to make your spares. That'll keep you in it. And then when things open up and the strikes start coming, you take advantage. And here's somebody you're familiar with stepping up on the right lane. She looks a little bit different than she did last week, but the rumor is that she did a very awesome thing, and she donated her hair to the Locks of Love, I believe.
It's a similar organization. It wasn't Locks of Love itself, but it's another entity that does the same thing. Yeah, donated hair for making into wigs and whatnot for survivors of cancer.
So that is a very cool thing, and hopefully now a little bit of good karma on her side as well, and some strikes coming her way.
She's not going to be very happy about that miss spare there in the 6th frame, but hopefully that'll make her mad enough to strike out.
That's the best way to not have to worry about missing spares. Just throw strikes. Wendy Macpherson will see if she can double up here. She's thrown a lot of strikes at this event in the last 5 or 6 years.
That's why she's got that little orange bird next to her name, Matt.
And that was a heck of a day. It was a very emotional day for her. Her dad had just died, and she really had no plans of even bowling, to be honest, in practice, and just wasn't feeling at the top of her game. Of course, a lot of more important things going on at that time in her life, and when she got done, the emotions were just completely flowing all over the American Bank Center there in Corpus Christi. That was an awesome day just to be a part of that.
With everything you remember and all those stories about all the Open Championships, you've got to be writing a book.
Well,
That's what I told him.
someday, the memoirs of Matt Cannizzaro, but luckily, pretty much every cool thing that happens at this event, we write about anyway, so all you have to do is navigate bowl.com, find it, just maybe I'll print it all out, put it in a book someday, and then save the good stuff, the behind-the-scenes stuff for down the road.
The memoirs of Matt.
But I'll tell you what, I guess I have been here quite a while. This is number 8 for me. And just the other day as we were driving back to Dallas, as part of the Stay Awake game, we did Open Championships trivia. Believe it or not, Brandy was in the car and she had it pulled up on her phone, the history of the Open Championships, and we were trying to name all the champions as far back as we could to see how much I really know about this event. As we see Jill Weber with her first strike of the day. Looks like Jason lined her up from back here.
Good shot. There is Leslie Bone on the left lane. She's dealing with the 310. A solid conversion there.
Speaking of people who have thrown a lot of strikes this event, is that Brett Wolf?
I think so.
Brett cannot get enough of the Open Championships. He was just here a couple of weeks back on our live stream. Now he's here to watch his girlfriend and his sister. Not too far away from here. He'll be jumping on here, no doubt.
I get to call Brett an old man because we share a birth date. How about that for trivia?
What day is that?
July 26, 75. That makes us old.
1975, huh?
Correct. Oof.
Emil's heard about the 70s.
It's just amazing to me, Matt. You and Emil are up here. You've got phones up here, computers. You got cameras going. You got all kind of nonsense. You never miss a beat.
Well, we try our hardest to present the best product we can all the time.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. It was fun to go back and jump on YouTube and watch our team. Like I said, minus game 2, but it was a lot of fun to go back and watch that. And I was actually able to send the link to my dad, and he got to watch it from California. It was a lot of fun. It was good for him to get to see stuff. He doesn't get out to Bowl as much as he used to, so it was awesome.
Again, that actually was a topic on the Let's Go Bowling show this week. Well, I had to pinch hit for Matt. Talked to a wonderful gentleman on the show, and we talked about the archive, how you can search and find various videos on youtube.com/bowltv. That is the link. That is the website. That is the URL. And at that point, once you're there, you just go ahead and search. If it's not on the first page, you just look, search for what you actually are looking for, and it should come right on up. Not only archives from the Open Championships, but other things from Team USA, Lucas Wiseman, Matt Lawson, several interviews, and what have you, all on Bowl TV, so we encourage you to check that out.
It looks like Tennille Milligan here with a big double, looking to become the next highlight on Bowl TV.
See that little scowl when she came back? Yeah, I've been on the other end of that scowl. It's not fun.
I think Abby wants to say hi, possibly.
Hello.
We have an Abba sighting. Sorry.
How about that?
There's the future of women's bowling right here in the booth.
Getting a lot of love in the chat room. We enjoy watching women's bowling. Of course, we do too. As, they are very deserving and have accomplished, again, as we talked about earlier, a lot. Especially as we look at right now, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. She's looking for a triple here in the the ninth frame. Looking to set things up in the 10th.
We saw Carolyn not too long ago. She was the #1 seed at the USBC Queens this year. Unfortunately, came up a little bit short lost that title to Team USA member Deandra Beatty, and Carolyn, the 2001 Queen's Champion. So, the only way to get those titles is to keep getting there, and she seems to do that. She always seems to be on the TV show or right around it, and even 10 years later, she's still got it as well.
Sorry about that. I had to arm wrestle the microphone away from my daughter, and I think she's stronger than I am, so you know where that was going.
I think this year we've actually, including Carolyn, we've seen 3 of the 5 Queens finalists on our live stream, if I'm not mistaken. Carolyn here, obviously. Saw Liz Johnson.
Double for Jill
and
Weber.
Stephanie Nation. Although all 5 actually have bowled this event this year, with obviously CDB being the last as she competes here.
Where's Gina Darashevsky up on the left lane? She seems to be the one who's really locked in so far, and as I say that one sails right past the head pin.
Nice work, Bo.
Well, I think the majority of these ladies have an idea of how to get to the pocket, of course. We've seen CDB actually leave a couple of single pins to deal with, but she's been right around the 10 board as far as breakpoint is concerned. And there is Leslie Bone able to convert the 2-8. But these ladies have been using the first tracer, if you're watching at home, of the 10 board. You can see that on your screen. Of course, their angle's fairly straight as we take a look at the scoreboard. And here is Kathy Dorin-Lizzie now on lane 2. Kathy made the switch to some surface in about frame number 4. Take a look at her offering here. That was about 12. It did not hold. And she leaves at 3-6.
This year's pattern, 39 feet. And about 2.1 to 1 or so, 2.2. Now Jason, the technical guy in the booth right now, works at USBC in the behind the scenes there in the testing facility. But having bowled last week, can you talk a little bit about the pattern and kind of what people should expect?
Certainly, Matt. What I saw from difference from last year, again, your good shots were going to get there. Your bad shots weren't going to be nearly as close. It felt to me like the pattern played a lot flatter. Definitely felt like there was more pronounced out of bounds right. And to me, it felt like you didn't have to go as much surface. Like there might have been a little more friction in the mid lane, which would make sense since they played a little bit flatter. You always feel like you have a little bit friction closer. Again, I think they were really, really fair on both sides. I mean, as far as what I saw left to right, nobody had any easy task to get there. And I think that's, kind of a pat on the back to the folks who come up with these patterns and try to make something that's fair and makes you make good shots to score. I like that.
Well, this year's pattern, 2 feet shorter than a year ago, and less oil in the middle part of the lane, and you see that instantly. A lot of hook towards the middle, and the scores reflect that. And of course, this event, a different sport certified lane condition every year. But the one key is that any skill level, they can be attacked from different ways, and whether you're left-handed, right-handed, you hook the ball, you don't hook the ball, it's out there. You can attack it from all different parts of the lane and find success all kinds of ways, and that's really one of the cool parts about this event, and the fact that it changes from year to year.
Good shot there from Tennille. You can see she's using the ball. It stops a little bit toward the back part of the lane, so she can just get it where she wants to lay up and have it set in the pocket, go straight to the pins.
If you're just joining us, we are in the 10th frame now of game number 1 here at the 2012 USBC Open Championships. This is Matt Kenazar, Emil Williams Jr., and Jason Milligan checking in from behind lanes 1 and 2. Some very, very talented young ladies on tonight's broadcast.
You're not kidding. I mean, the introductions alone took an extra 5 minutes because of the ladies in this pair and some of the other celebrities bowling in this squad. When they went through Wendy and Carolyn, I don't know if they were narrating a book or if they were, you know.
Well, it's very cool to see everybody joining us, not only in person on this Friday night, but in the chat room as well. Almost 400 folks tuning in to see some of the best women bowlers on the planet, really. And not just on this pair, but a couple more spread throughout the house. So it has certainly a different vibe in the air tonight here at the Open Championships.
I mean, there's absolutely nowhere to set up here. Even people sitting on the steps and along the side aisles, and I mean, you even leaned up against the railing behind. It's pretty packed here.
And as we talked about earlier, we've gone global. Finally, Jason, in case you missed that, we are approaching Lucas Wiseman status. We have Ami Guerra checking in from overseas there. Well, not too far away. Stuart Williams has flown in from England specifically to be here tonight, and he is not far away either. So we've made it, and now you're with us. So here's Wendy Mack stepping up for her fill ball. Looks like she moved a little bit right.
Wouldn't surprise me to see her make a little ball change or something here just to check it out.
Something new, and I don't think she liked that reaction. She leaves the big four, finishes with 174. So we'll jot that down and move on to Jill Weber, who had trouble early, did not strike until the 8th frame, but now she's stepping up with a double. And CDB leaves a 10 pin on her fill ball. Solid effort there from her, 215. It's a pretty good start here. And the question in the chat room is Linda Barnes going to be bowling this week? Not that I've heard. I know she had a shoulder surgery at some point and a wrist injury. I imagine if she's going to be coming out of, I don't want to say retirement, but she did have a brief hiatus there. Trying to get stronger as of late. I know she's back on the lanes. But a lot of great events coming up here pretty soon. The Women's Championships, the US Open out in Reno. So I think if she's going to be anywhere, she'll be out there for that. But if we hear different, we'll definitely let everybody know.
When she bowled the Queens tournament in Texas, she had a strain on a strained quad or a strained quad or something.
Now I know Jason Tennille is headed out to Reno, if I'm not mistaken, right from here. Is that the plan, or?
We're actually driving back. She heads it on Thursday.
Okay, I know Wendy said that her and Carol headed back to Vegas to regroup a little bit as well in Vegas before heading out to Reno. So I would think this event a pretty solid warm-up to what's about to happen, and some potential prize money as well.
Most definitely. Those ladies are also bowling. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to step on you there. Also, these ladies are going back there bowling, women's nationals and U.S. Open's Open all at the same time. So, I mean, they got a lot of bowling in a couple weeks. You're gonna be here, right? You're not making it back for that?
I will be here till the very end. 25 days left, of course. This event, 2012 Open Championships, kicked off on February 11th, and it is the second longest tournament in history in 109 years. We'll be going 151 consecutive days, wrapping things up on July 10th, and a lot of great bowlers up until the very end.
You, sir, are a trooper. You and Emil both.
Yeah, I'll be here too.
Now, Emil, if you didn't know, actually takes to the lanes that week also, as another miscue there.
Who takes to the lanes?
Emil will be on the lanes
Emil who?
July 5th and 6th. And he doesn't know it, but...
no, we're not doing that.
Whoa, man, we might set up the cameras.
No, we're not.
I'm sorry, you said July 5th and 6th? I may have to check my schedule.
174, 155, 208 so far for Classic Greenfield, Wendy, Jill, and Gina. 215 for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, 161 for Leslie Bone.
Good pitch from Kathy there. You alluded to earlier, man. Most of actually, it might have been you, Mill. You're heading for the down lane tracers on the right around 10. We were doing the same thing last week. A couple guys get there from different angles. Steve Smith, a little higher rev rate. And, Del Ballard, a little softer speed, a little more hand. They were getting there from a little further left. Myself and Chris Tibbetts were a little further right. And, Scott Southwick actually was playing a little deeper, but not quite getting as far right, a little more ball speed. We were all trying to get it around the same area down lane and just control the break point and try to have the ball going through the pins the right way to knock them all over. And even when we had to move in, it still was trying to get a lot of 10, 11 down lane at that hash mark.
I think that's been the general consensus as far as breakpoint is concerned. Of course, give or take a couple of teams who may find something a little different or like to attack the lanes differently as well, but that's been the general consensus. You would expect sometimes, or most would expect, when you see women bowl, their angles might be just a little bit straighter, of course, through the front part of the lane. So you see where they were, and as we talked about, Jason just mentioned where they were, his team, and also seen teams attack it well on the inside, especially down towards the third game and at about 15-ish or so. So there's other ways to attack, but whatever fits your preference and the other 9 people on your pair, or 4 on your team for that matter. That was a great shot from Rocio, though.
Matt, you hit it right dead on the head with trying to get a good game out of the way for game 1. Give yourself a little momentum. You have a bad game in game 1. It's really hard to get back on the horse. I mean, team-wise, individually we had Scott struggle last week, and still a manageable 1,000, but it was uphill. I mean, we definitely knew we needed to hit him a lot harder after that. Just makes you feel like you're a little bit behind the 8 ball. Just looking at the number 3401, that's a big number. That's a really big number ball in this.
And all part of the strategy is that you're expecting the lanes to open up as the night progresses, and we saw it quite a few times, big 1200s in game 3, but again, it's getting off to a good start, getting that confidence, and I don't think we're really seeing that so far here tonight, as Classic Greenfield finishes up with 906. And Ballard's bowling solution will be right around the same area. Now last year, Ballard's team made a run at it in Reno. They finished 33rd, shot 33.02. So, I mean, it's definitely out there as possible, and they certainly have the talent to do it. But now they've dug themselves a little bit of a hole as Tennille Milligan trying to get them out of there one shot at a time. That's 4 in a row for her. So a pretty solid game here. And that's why she's bowling anchor, I'm sure. And she's getting it done when she needs to. So they're right at 900 now, and she's got 2 shots left. So I imagine they're communicating at this point, talking about how they're going to attack things in game 2, because they're going to need some big ones at this point.
You're totally right. And, the 906, it may look bad on the scoreboard, but it's really not that bad, especially for a first game this year at this tournament. This would be a huge double, though, if she can get 10 and nothing but 10.
Never doubt.
I'd expect a ball change here. She might try to see what else she's got.
There's a quick look up top as we see Tenille getting ready. She's got 5 in a row, looking to close things out.
Keeping it on the lane, they'll be in the 950s.
Here she is for her final shot here in game number 1.
Strike will give her 236.
Same ball. Shows you what I know.
I guess that's why you're back here with us.
100%.
Nice game.
So that tiara that Steve Smith posted a picture of on Facebook, that wasn't yours?
I'm gonna have to say no. Actually, funny story about that. I'm not exactly up to speed on the whole social media thing. I mean, I have a Twitter account, which makes me feel pseudo hip, but I don't take on the Facebook thing. That's a large beast. I don't know if I could deal with all that. Nonetheless, all of a sudden, let me backtrack. Steve Smith flew to Texas and drove out here with me. We drove back last week, and he had Team USA camp. So the funny story about this is he takes the picture of the tiara, posts the picture. We're about 30 miles in the trip, and his phone's going off literally every 5 seconds. And it's just going off, and it's going off, and it's going off. I'm like, man, your lady misses you. He goes, no, you didn't see what I did. Like, what'd you do? Because I took a picture of the tiara. Like, nice. I go, did you take a picture of the tiara on your head? He goes, no, I'll have to get that when we get back.
That tiara, of course, a memento from the 2005 USBC Queens. Of course, Tenille Milligan, the champion at that event. One of 2 majors.
Actually 3, Matt. I'm going to cut you short.
What do I know? The Hammer Players Championship.
Correct.
The 2005 Queens.
Yep. 2000 US Open.
Ha, I knew that.
I know you knew that. You were just testing me to see if I knew.
Well, I mean, you have to walk past all these trophies and medals and tiaras and rings and pendants and things every day. So, but while we have this opportunity, Emil, how about a quick rundown of game number 1? We are now in the first frame of game 2. Of course, 3 games here tonight, the 8:30 team event, 2012 USBC Open Championships, Classic Greenfield, and Ballard Bowling Solution.
All right, for Classic Greenfield, Wendy Macpherson, 174. Jill Weber struggled a little bit in that game, but a good shot to start things off here in game number 2. She finished with 155. Gina Darshevsky, 208. Kendra Gaines, 179. And Carol Gianotti, 190 for a 906 team game. And for Ballard's Bowling Solutions, as we see an error message on lane 2. Carol and Dorin-Ballard, 215. Leslie Bone, 161. Kathy Dorin-Lizzie, 158. Rocio Restrepo, 189. And Tenille Milligan, solid 236 for 959.
Hey guys, I really appreciate you letting me in the booth with you and take up some of the airspace. I have a 2-year-old that's about ready to pass out over here, so
about that time, huh?
Step out. I apologize. I love being on here, and hopefully we can do it again next year if you guys let me back in.
Well, so we appreciate your time, of course. It's
anytime.
Always a pleasure.
You guys are the best. Please keep up with doing the good job you do, and there's a reason you guys are going worldwide. Trust me.
How about that?
Take care, you guys.
All right, folks, that is Tenille Milligan's husband. Jason Milligan checking in from USBC behind the scenes at the ITRC, the research side of things. Now we're back to our action here. As Rocio Restrepo, a solid 9-pin. So she's throwing great shots. Every time I look up, there's a single pin staring back at her. Let's see if Kendra Gaines can have better luck here in the first frame of game 2. And she goes a little bit high, leaves a 4-pin. So they're right there, Emil. They're in the pocket, and now it's just a matter of just tweaking it just a little bit to get the carry that they'll need here. 34.01, a huge number, of course, but to get into the top 10, it'll take about 32.50 at this point. So definitely some work to do but if anybody can do it, they certainly can.
Well, Rocio has such a strong ball roll. You know, and for a lady, she puts a lot on it. She's very aggressive and doesn't hold back. Really, I've always admired the way she throws the bowling ball. So entry angles are always an issue for anybody. Getting the ball, as Jason said, trying to get the ball to go through the pins the right way to knock all 10 down is one of the keys to success, of course.
Well, as you see, Milligan, who ended the last game, I believe, with 6 in a row, leaves a flat 10 pin on lane 1, and Carol Gianotti, who's been right there also, leaves another 7 pin. She missed one in game number 1. No problem there. So a whole bunch of 9s on the scoreboard here early in game 2. With a little bit of cooperation and some luck, those 9s could easily be X's. And I think if you are gonna not strike, leaving a single pin is, of course, the best alternative. So Wendy Mack, another unfortunate break of her own. And all great shots here in game 2. An 8 pin for Wendy. Let's see what Carolyn can do up on lane 2. That ball just doesn't make a move. Apparently it was all her. She did not release it how she was hoping. She'll have a tough spare to shoot at here in frame 2. Wendy makes her spare. Let's see what Carolyn can do with this combination. No problem. I don't know if CDB misses spares. That's how you get in the Hall of Fame.
That is one way. But yeah, she's a very, very good spare shooter. Is Jill Weber now with the double.
That's another way to not have to worry about spares, of course. Knock them all down as she did. Struggled in game 1, shot 155. And now has a double here, and there's a big shot from Leslie Bone.
Didn't get a chance to see that last shot, but I know in the first game Leslie was throwing what resembled a deviate revenge. Of course, now I would have to make the assumption. That she would be throwing some Brunswick equipment this evening and some deviate stuff. Another shot in the pocket from Kathy Dorin-Lizzie. 3-10 the hard way on the left lane by Dershevsky.
Yeah, another member of this group who is not here this year is Tammy Turner, who came out of nowhere in 2009 to win the U.S. Women's Open. And she is now on Team USA, so she is at Team USA camp right now with Shannon O'Keefe, Pluhowski, Stephanie Nation, Deandra Beatty, among others. So a lot happening in the bowling world this week, and even more talented women than we have right here. Many of whom on this pair have also shared in that experience
as well in the past as far as camp goes, and sharing those moments and experiences as well.
We do have a question in the chat room, Emil, and we talked about this earlier. Is what's happening in Reno. There's some big news on the Reno front coming out from USBC this week. Just a quick rundown is that the National Bowling Stadium is going to undergo a multi-million-dollar renovation. And funding from that project comes from the surcharge on hotel rooms. Of course, the bowlers have spent a lot of time in Reno in recent years. The women's championships there in 2009, the Open there in 10 and 11, and the women back there this year. And everybody will be in Reno in 13 and 14. So a lot of bowling going on there, and the surcharge from the hotel rooms will go to $15 million in upgrades to the stadium. So a lot of excitement there. And of course, in exchange for that, USBC tournaments will be held at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno through 2030. Those are not consecutive years, but a rotation of events, just like we've had in recent years. The two events every third year, the Open starting in 1995 every third year, the women's in 97 every third year, and that will continue through 2030. Now, part of the renovations at this point will include a squad room renovation and expansion, adjustment of the stadium seating to create additional space for exhibits and vendors. Of course, the stadium, a very unique venue with the way the bleachers are set up, that is going to change. A brand new restaurant, and the 78 tournament lanes will be replaced, and a new look to the outside of the venue, and that and much more coming up. So keep an eye out for that. Those renovations already underway. Different things happening as we all head back there in 2013 and 14. The Open Championships will be held at the stadium. The Women's Championships will be across town at the Reno Sparks Convention Center. So for the first time in history, both events in the same place. And Reno, the second home really to these events. And looking forward to that, and a lot of excitement having both events in the same place. So for more information about that, check out the story on bowl.com. It is front and center on the main page. And if you're interested in joining us in Reno for the Open or Women's Championships, you can find out all kinds of information on bowl.com. Just find the tournament page and information about what's happening this year and how to register for next year. Emil, I think that covers it.
Yeah, of course, that's big news across the landscape. And but you know, the city of Reno has made a commitment to the sport. Not just to the tournament, but that's a commitment to the sport. You know, always trying to think of ways to better the experience for the bowlers. That's really what it's about. So again, kudos to them and USBC for coming together and making some things happen. Sure, of course, I was but a young tyke. I did not get a chance to see the stadium when it first opened, of course. Now I have seen it more recently, but I couldn't imagine you know, the fanfare and how that was perceived to the bowling world. I'd have to assume that most people thought it was pretty amazing. In fact, people still think it's an amazing place to be right now. So imagine some upgrades and some different things that will allow you to better enjoy your experience there. So,
well, that of course a one-of-a-kind venue, 78 lanes, 4 stories of bowling glory, and a permanent facility, unlike our venue here in Baton Rouge that is equally beautiful as far as what we're able to do with 48 lanes and just the whole venue in general, the world's largest mobile scoreboard, etc. This is, of course, our traveling operation, but the stadium, a bowling mecca, really, world-renowned, one-of-a-kind, 78 lanes. And, of course, it's only going to get better. And another gentleman who enjoys being at the National Bowling Stadium is Brett Wolf, who we mentioned earlier. He's up here, and he'll be jumping on with us in just a couple of minutes. He, of course, won his 2002 Masters title at the National Bowling Stadium and shot 300 there in singles in 2011. So while we get Brett mic'd up here, we'll take a look up at the scoreboard here in Game 2.
I'll even talk about that pair too.
We're in the third frame. So things not going as well as hoped here for these ladies in Game 2 either. As you see, Dereshevsky missing a 10-pin. So she is struggling here. She bowled well in Game 1, 208. I believe she opened in the 10th and now has 2 opens through 3. So hopefully they can get back on track, make some spares, throw some strikes, and put on a show like they did last year. Dorin-Ballard's team finished 33rd in the team event, shot 3,300 on the live stream. So they're definitely capable. Now it's just a matter of everything falling into place. And now we're joined by, great, now that Brett Wolf comes on, now I'm not even the best left-hander in the booth, then that's okay. But
Fair enough.
Brett's here to watch his girlfriend and his sister, and many other great bowlers here, out here for the second time. He was out here just a couple weeks ago to get it done for himself. And he actually bowled on this pair of lanes, so perhaps he's got some insight into just the shot in general and how things unfolded and what we're seeing here tonight. So, Brett, welcome.
Thanks for having me. First 10 lanes here today. Lot of great bowlers. Certainly 1 and 2. Just about every title that could be won or wanted to be won has been won 5 or 6 times on this pair. You're watching Tennille, watching Wendy, watching Carolyn, watching Kathy, Kendra. It's a phenomenal roster on that pair. Fun to watch. For you women who are watching or listening, this is the finest bowling you'll ever see on one pair with the women.
So I was actually just trying to count up the Queen's titles while you were saying that. Wendy, of course, has 3. Carolyn has 1. Tennille has 1. So that's pretty good. And Carol has 1. So 6 Queen's titles on one pair of lanes. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's the best you'll ever see in one place. You might see 1 or 2 of these girls bowl on one pair together, but 10 of them on there, young, not so young, but experienced. I mean, it's the best. Without Lisa Wagner, it's the best bowling you're going to find on the women's side. I got a feeling Tennille may put up a pretty sweet number here at the end. She's one of the best I've ever seen at attacking a pattern once it's been set up. Some of the other girls will bowl great too. I would look for Wendy to find something at the end. Same with Carol, but once the pattern sets itself, those 3 can just attack all day. They're great at it.
Well, you had a chance to watch a little bit of Game 1 and part of Game 2 here. As far as their strategy and what you're seeing, what can we expect as the night progresses?
Well, the hard part about a bowling a 1 and 2 or anything like this is you're either really good at setting the pair or really good at attacking what's been set up. The hard part is being able to be good at both. Now that the setup has occurred, you may see Carolyn and Kathy and some of the girls who are really good at playing right in front of them struggle, but you're going to see Tennille and Carol Gianotti and Kendra, the girls who can get in and really move their hand around the ball, they're going to start to have a better and better look because they've got a place to attack. The hard part is setting up and attacking all in the same 3-game set. That's how you win an eagle, and you're going to see some players great at setting up. Carolyn shot 215 on the fresh, which on what we're blowing out here is enormous, but you may not see her have the same look. As you can see down the lane, her ball looks like it picks up speed and doesn't really finish. but Kendra and Carol Gianotti and Wendy as well, Tennille, the girls that can really move it are going to start to have a better and better look as the night goes through.
Well, now what we're seeing here also is, it can be a little bit misleading. These ladies are right around the pocket for the most part. Carolyn struggling on the right lane here. She just had that interesting 5-pin combination and left a 2-4-5 there last time up. But a lot of missed spares, and you just can't do that. We're seeing a lot of single pins. They're getting to the pocket, and then they're missing their spares. And those numbers could definitely be a lot higher at this point.
If you can 5 or 6 bagger, missed spares don't mean as much, but right now the missed spares are killer because it's very hard to get that back. You can't triple, you can't 4 bagger on this. You've got to fight for every double you get. Great shot by Leslie there. That kind of thing is what kills you on this pattern. We all miss spares. It's a tough fight for everybody, but it's too hard to gain that ground back here. Unlike some other years where it was pretty easy to string a few and you could mitigate the damage that a single pin miss would cause. Ooh, Kendra cheating her way to a strike there. Let's see if Kathy doesn't overamp this one, give it a chance to actually roll up. Yeah, see, she and Carolyn are fighting the same thing. The ball just looks like it picks up speed down the lane, particularly on the right lane. You can see a lot of 2-4 combos, where if you look at Carol, who really gets her hand underneath and stands on it at the bottom, she gets that ball to change direction, and as you move left, you have to have that tool. You have to have that shot in the bag to be able to strike as you move inside.
Well, and we've seen a lot this year. Folks go to a little bit of surface to smooth it out. The back ends, the pattern's only 39 feet, so back ends, there's a lot of movement, so you go to something shiny early, and it's really going to take off on you, and again, be a little bit misleading. You go to surface to calm that down, but with the ladies not having as much hand, as you can see, at this point, perhaps time to go to something a little bit shinier that's going to have a little more reaction once it hits that friction.
Absolutely. If you're bowling on a 40-foot or 39, 41, that middle-of-the-road pattern it's where manipulation early in the set by surface or anything like that really plays a big difference down the lane later in the set. You're absolutely right. Some of the girls probably should be looking at a shinier ball, a little more aggressive down the lane. Ouch. But get in and attack. Too many of them, I think, try to stand on the dry part of the lane and stay on it, whereas the girls that move in and just kind of boom it left to right at it are going to have that look. Tammy Turner, Tennille, girls like that who can really make the ball climb on the back end are going to have a great look the last game and a half, but maybe fight to set up the pattern, and that's where the difficult part of this team event comes in.
Well, just like the last couple shots we saw, Rocio definitely gets on it, Carol gets on it. Carol went high, Rocio leaves a split, whereas Kathy and Carolyn, who are a little bit straighter, they're not getting the ball back, but yet they're the ones throwing the surface, and Carolyn and Rocio are throwing the shinier stuff that's overreacting. So if they switched at this point, and if Carolyn and Rocio has something that would be a little bit smoother off the pattern, where Carolyn and Kathy has something the opposite, then I think we're in the right place. But it's easy to see that from up here, as we saw while you were out there bowling. Easy to be the critic in the booth and try to figure out what people are thinking, especially when those people are way better than you anyway.
Very much so. The girls know what they're doing. They have an idea of the right ball. Sometimes they get fooled by watching their teammate who throws a little bit different, have a shape to the ball down the lane that they think, oh man, I'm not going to get the ball up. I got to give it more. I got to get a stronger ball. Rocio, Tennille, they could certainly benefit from surface to smooth out the reaction, mitigate the back end. Whereas Carolyn and Kathy, if they could get a ball that really moves on the back end, full leverage drilling or something of that nature, they might get that extra board or two at the end that rolls the 2-pin or spanks the 10-pin. Anything to give them a double or a triple is really what we're looking for.
Well, now here's Carolyn stepping up on the left lane, and her trouble seems to be on the right. So, of course, as you have 10 minutes of practice and you break things down and the lanes transition, it can work out where one lane's tighter than the other, and we'll see how the reaction is here on lane 1. It's kind of similar.
Yeah, it looks like her ball is picking up speed on that lane, too. She's the best in the world at going slightly high and tripping that 4. And when she's forced to play more of the 3-pin, less of the head pin, she's going to leave the buckets or the wrap 10s, things of that nature that girls like Wendy or Rocio or Tennille won't. In the same vein, girls like Tennille and Wendy, they're going to 4-9 when they go high, whereas Carolyn would trip it out. So it's all about playing to your strength, particularly in the transition phase, which is, let's say, from the 8th or 9th frame of the first game to the 1st or 2nd frame of the 3rd game, right in the middle of what they are now. You're fighting through that. You're trying not to dig yourself too deep of a hole, but you're looking for when the pattern sets up and you can really attack and maybe 5 or 6 bagger near the end of the game 3. You're just trying to get to that part of the lane. Maybe not hit it the entire time, but keep yourself from shooting 160 or 170. Shoot 195 or 200, and then look for the 240 or 250 the last game. I don't know Jill Weber. She certainly gets her hand around it, but it looks like she's just a few boards right of where she needs to be. That, move a zone left and play where the rest of the team is. That ball gets right at the hook spot, and it just never comes back. Good shot by Leslie, but that's kind of what you run into here. Is the ball doesn't peel and move from right to left at the pocket, you're just going to wrap 10 all day. It's hard to give that shot up because you're in the pocket, but it's hard to 5 or 6 bagger unless you make some sort of change with how the ball enters the 1-3.
Now, Brett, we've seen, I guess, the normal things that we see. If you get off to a slow start, and whether if you do or if you don't, usually the second game is where we really start to see the scores go up in the team event. When you talked about the transition, kind of fighting through that, how is it? Obviously, these teams bowl well the second game for them to shoot 1150 or more, whatever it is. But
right.
When you're fighting through the transition, what do you think, or what is it that it can allow you to have a bounce back game like that, even when you're fighting through transition?
Well, I'm going to say a lot of that's mental. I mean, girls like this who won at every level, they're used to having rough games. They're used to seeing unusual things. They know that, hey, I'm still good enough. I can dig 240 or 250 out of this. The average bowler gets a little frustrated. They think, oh, my God, I shot 150 or 160. There's no way I can recover from that. Bowlers of this caliber know that they can recover. Even in 3 games, they know they can shoot 230 the last 2 and get out of it. So I think a lot of that's mental. Physically, you have to move. On the right especially, when you've got 8, 9, 10 righties on a pair, the adjustments are different. Basically, you try to mitigate the bad early, and then when it gets good, you need to go in and attack it. There's guys on the right I can think of that are fantastic at that. Whereas on the left, where I am, you try to get yours early because your patterns are going to hold up, and then just hold on for dear life as they start to transition. You tend to shoot more early and flatten out, whereas on the right, they tend to shoot a little lower earlier, but they can really pick it up at the end. Even the girls can, particularly these girls with the rev rates they have. You watch girls like Kendra. I mean, that's a phenomenal shot. Horrible break. What do? You can't give that up. You got to play there.
All right, for those of you just joining us once again, Matt Canizaro, Emil Williams Jr., and Brett Wolf, the 2002 USBC Masters champ, in the booth here at the 2012 USBC Open Championships. We are behind lanes 1 and 2 at the Baton Rouge River Center, and we are here to watch 10 of the best ladies in the world. And here they are. Here's a look at the scoreboard through 1.5.
Yeah, it's a fight for even them. You would expect a bunch of those girls to have doubles and triples, and for every girl that's got a double, there's a girl with a couple opens too. It's hard for even the best in the world. Those of you who come and bowl, don't get frustrated. It's hard for everybody. See what Tennille does here. Man, she throws it good. Her ball hits so hard. It continues through the pins so good. It's so strong. Same with Carol's. You can see Carol grab it. That one's a little tight. Oh, take advantage. Good break. But the girls who can really move their hand through, keep the thumb up, but the fingers really work their way through the bottom of the ball, that's the ones that tend to bowl really well as the pattern progresses, because they could just get in and they do what the really good guys do. They attack the lane pattern and play where their strength comes into play versus trying to fight against that by playing straight. There's Wendy, basically in my opinion, the best bowler not named Earl or Walter that I've ever seen. She's won everything there is to win multiple times across continents and years. I've bowled against her. I've had my head kicked in by her, and she's phenomenal. She's an unbelievable talent. She's one of the best I've ever seen. When you need a triple in the 9th, 10th, and 11th, she delivers so many times. You know, between her and Carolyn, you got 1 and 1A of women's bowling on one pair at one time. That's pretty cool to see. See, that was a great pitch by Carolyn. Again, the ball just doesn't quite finish through the head pin. It's nothing wrong with the shot. It's just the way the pattern sets up and what she sees down the lane. Her strength is minimized here, whereas Wendy's strength of really circling the ball, really getting the ball to tilt is maximized. That's a pretty good lesson in how the lanes start good for a certain type and how when they transition a different type of lane attack and lane play comes in.
We talked a little bit earlier about just remembering, and when we saw these ladies on TV all the time, of course, on ESPN and whatnot. And remember, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard had a great streak, and she seemed to win everything. What's it like to be? And you may not have been in that kind of zone, but I'm sure you've been in a zone before where you've won some things maybe consecutively. What's it like to kind of be in the midst of something like that?
Well, it's a confidence thing more than anything. You know that you're throwing the ball good. You know you're reading the lanes right. You feel comfortable. Doesn't matter what center you're at, what lane pattern you're on. You just feel good about what's going on and when you step on the approach. And, I mean, for 2.5 or 3 years, Carolyn just clubbed everybody over the head. She was phenomenal. I've had strings like that where things have gone really well for a long stretch, and it's not so much physical. It really is mental. You just feel good. You walk in knowing, hey, there might be somebody here who can beat me, but odds are, no, I'm going to be right at the top. And I think that's it. Physically at this level, all the girls know their strengths. They know their weaknesses. So do most of the great guys who bowl. It's just a matter of feeling comfortable at where you're at that given time. You watch somebody great like Mike Fagan this year who's just come into his own. I mean, he's been great nonstop for years, but this year he really just showed that all the time, all the dedication, all the patience paid off, and you see what he did, or you see what Walter did a few years ago, or Parker years ago, or it's so easy to pick guys who will run for 18, 19, 20 tournaments and just be always at the top, always dominating, always a threat. That type of thing is mental. That's where you get confident in everything you've worked on. The bowling part, when you get to the foul line and let the ball go, doesn't matter as much. It's all about how you feel that I walk in and I'm better than everybody else I'm seeing. That's what the girls like Carolyn and Wendy and Kendra and Tennille have done when they've had their success. Let's see if Kathy can get the ball to tilt. They still fighting. Boy, you watch her and her sister, and when they both feast, they both feast. When they both famine, man, it just, as much as they can beat the 1-3 into submission, it's hard for them to knock 10 over. It's just really shows what development of the pattern can do.
Now, Kathy was throwing, she started out throwing something shiny the first 3 frames or so of the first game. As she switched to that ball read the pattern like here earlier, what she needed at that particular time, 10 back, and looks like she had a good look. Of course, now that same ball with that same surface, not giving her the extra as you've just talked about.
Right, I think she could probably do with some surface, something that gets the ball to face up a few feet earlier on the lane pattern, and is trucking through the pins, not trying to climb into the pocket. Right now, that's what she's seeing. Absolutely, it's like trying to wrap the ball around the corner of the pattern versus cutting off the last 3 or 4 feet of the pattern and coming across. I've only seen Rocio bowl a few times. I know she's great. She certainly doesn't get cheated at a 93-pound soaking wet or whatever she is. She throws it fantastic. This is my girl, though. Tennille is something. I mean, we've known each other for 10, 15 years, and she's been great and just one of the best competitors I've ever bowled against. Just an absolute killer on the lanes. Oh, Mike throwing a strike there on 5 and 6. My eventually soon-to-be brother-in-law. That's a good pitch. Yep, even she's wrapping the 10 now.
Brad, looks like you got a fan club over there. They're just staring at you.
Well, I got the group from Dallas. Oh, Tony giving me the title bra there up high. Sandy and Jeannie. Yep. It's a fun group. It was worth the trip back. There's a lot of people I consider very close friends here. Love to watch them bowl. Love to spend time with them. So it's a good time. Yeah, we're having fun.
So every day is a reunion here at the Open Championships. You never know who you're going to run into. Every time I turn a corner here today, somebody I knew, somebody I bowled in college with, somebody I bowled back in Dallas with. So very cool. And again, just because we're the same schedule every single day, there's Del Warren walking by from Kegel. You just never know what kind of superstar you're going to run into. And of course, every day we're on the lanes from 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. Schedule is the same for 151 consecutive days, but you just never know. And that's what makes it cool, is that every day is different in that way. That's really special.
I don't know how you guys do this 5-6 hours a day every single day. But God bless. It's fun that you do.
Well, some days it feels like 5 hours. But
I don't see my sister do anything here. Come on, Brand. Make the turn. Let's watch the ball pick up speed. Everybody's running into it.
Yeah, today one of those days where there's just so much going on. Some great scores early this morning. Some classified bowlers stepping up. And some great team scores at 2:30. So it doesn't even feel like I've been here almost 14 hours today.
Every time I walk in, you guys are behind the desk in your suits or out here watching. I don't know if any employees more dedicated to their job than you and Emil. I got to tell you.
Make sure to share that news with Pete Treadwell, Jason Overstreet. You can find their contact info on bowl.com. Thanks.
So it's fun. It's fun to have this type of thing to watch. I don't know about putting on 1 and 2. Boy, it's a tough pair. Everybody's fighting their darndest to get anything going on the pair, but it's still an honor to be on there regardless of what you shoot. It means that the people in charge have felt that you've performed at a level high enough to be worth having bowlers watch and maybe take something good or something not so good and learn from it from us bowling. So it's great. We appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate the kind words, and we're here to bring you all the action and the news from the Open Championships. If you have missed anything on any of our live stream broadcasts, we'd like to check those out. Go to youtube.com/BowlTV. And if you're curious just about any of our stories, pictures, news, notes, blogs, individual scores, leaderboards, brackets, year-long products, you name it, you can find all of that and much more on bowl.com, not just for this event, but also for the Women's Championships. Each event has its own page on bowl.com, and that is your #1 source for all bowling news.
All right, so Kathy's coming up on the right lane. We think it's a little better pattern than lane 2. Lane 2 really seems to slow down. Can't tell if she's maybe thought about ball change or going with the ball that tumbles a little earlier, like Emil was saying. Let's see. That looks like a different rock. Oh, nah. Good fight. Not a bad pitch at all. Good thought there, but and it's carrying late that makes or breaks you in this tournament. I don't know how that team shot 3,400 on this. It's boggles the mind on what we saw.
Man, if we had $1 for every person that said that,
That'd be a 20 spot already today.
I'll even split it with them.
You know, the all events champs from last year, K&K, most of those guys are very good friends of mine. We talked about it before they even came out here, and we just said, I don't know how you get to 3,400. I just can't even see it. So kudos to that team, because what they did on what we're bowling on here is nothing short of miraculous.
Well, Nicholas J's Pro Shot bowled on March 5th. That was just a couple weeks into this year's event. And they all bowl together up in Wisconsin. They bowl league together, 5-player teams. They bowled in college together. They're still just fresh out of college. Some of them still in college. And they worked very hard. They put out the pattern. They talked equipment. Nick Howleman, who led that group, with 769 in the team event. He's the Pro Shop guy, Nicholas J. So he has the knowledge and, of course, access to be able to work with equipment and to do some things, and they practice very hard all together. They bowl together. They have the camaraderie. They have the attitude that comes with it. They're comfortable with each other. They came out here with a game plan. They broke the lanes down all together, both teams at that point finished over 3,200. They were 1-2 in the standings. They broke them down how they wanted to. And I think the real key to that whole thing that night was just from being here was the atmosphere that they created. It was so laid back. It was so much like a collegiate event. It was like league night for those guys, and there was no pressure. You could see they were just out there having a good time together, bowling well. Of course, when you bowl well, it certainly helps. And by the time that night was done, it just seemed like a different atmosphere in this building. And certainly they stepped up. They said they treated it just like a collegiate event. They were calm about the whole thing. They had 8 holes on the scoreboard the entire night. Certainly a huge key to their success that night. Just 8 open frames of any sort, splits, whatever. And they got it done. And you can see part of that video on Bowl TV as well to see their last frame and how they did it.
Yeah, if ever there was we've got some people cheering down there on the right. But if ever there was a talking point for bowling a collegiate atmosphere, bowling that type of event, that type of intensity, it's for here. It's very stressful to bowl nationals, whether you're bowling good or bad. You got 3 games and team, and that's it. There's no second chance. There's no second squad, nothing like that. So to come in with a game plan and to execute, which is probably the hardest part, you got everybody who knows what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it with white ball, but they just don't make it happen. Those guys did. I mean, to have both teams on the pair go 200-plus at least is absolutely fantastic, and hats off to them. They deserve every bit of that when they win the title. I can't see anybody getting to that. That was a phenomenal display.
Well, and another huge number that we haven't really talked about at all tonight, 99.54 leading the team all events. That number set by SMB Pro Shop. Those guys, of course, have been around this event for some time. A couple titles in that group as well. But that's almost 10,000 on this condition. And we didn't really know what to expect at that point. Of course, that's almost 1,000 over par. So to put that in perspective, and those guys in very good position at this point. And of course, in order to get to that point, you have to put up a solid team number to get started. So 3401 is the number you're chasing for team. But at worst, if you're not going to get there, put yourself in position to make your run at team all events, which is arguably the most coveted title at this event. It's a marathon, 45 games really, the all events total combined for all 5 players.
Well, 2,000 a man is unbelievable. We've had teams where have shot 1 or 2 guys at 2,000 or right near it, but to have 5 guys at 2,000, particularly on a pattern this flat where there's so little miss room left and right, phenomenal bowling, particularly over the 2 days, different pairs, everything that you see. Most people expect to get a little more in doubles and singles, that the pattern tends to be a little more forgiving or they've got more time to develop, whatever you say. But like you said, to get off the ground in team, not dig yourself a hole, and then to continue. You got a lot of guys you've seen maybe do something really great in team, 32, 32.50, and then they just don't quite have the same look in singles and doubles. But to shoot 10,000 on this is every bit as impressive as shooting 10,400 or when it's softer, like you see sometimes. It's a phenomenal achievement. If 99.50 wins, that's hats off to them. That's far better than most people would ever get given 2 or 3 shots on this pattern. So.
Well, and so far this year, again, we are about 125 days in. We have 17 300s and just 2 800s. One of those, a monster number, Matt McNeil, who can defy whatever. And before that, some people were saying maybe the left side wasn't as kind as it has been, could have been. And of course, no matter what, he has dominated this event since 2010. Shot 847 on our bonus live stream coverage, 847 in doubles after 792 in team. We certainly didn't see that coming. I mean, you can always expect something big when McNeil walks in the building now. But 847, and our other 800 currently leading singles, Henry Teets III from West Allis, Wisconsin. So just 2 800s this year. And one of them's leading doubles, one of them's leading singles.
I mean, both of those guys clown the pattern. Matt, particularly in the first 6 games, to shoot 200 over, 240 over is nothing short of spectacular. Certainly makes me want to get better. It's, plenty of comparisons. Oh, he's left-handed, you should be able to hit it. And they're absolutely right. If he's got something, I should be able to look at what he's doing and take advantage. But his bowling over the last 3 years has been just spectacular. I do my best, try to hang with him, but boy, he just seems to pour it on more and more every year. A single set was unfortunate. It happens to everybody, but his team and his doubles bowling was unbelievable. Don't know Henry, but shooting 800 a here is unreal. It's like I said, most people need 4.5 games to get to 800 here if they're bowling well. So to do it in 3 was spectacular.
Well, McNeil now in position to possibly take home 2 more eagles to go along with his 2010 all events with a record score of 23-26 back then. McNeil right now leading doubles with Charles Vashaw, 14.89, and all events 22.02. Emil, while we have this chance, we'll take a look up at the scoreboard for our ladies here for tonight, and then we'll get a rundown of the leaderboards.
We got Rocio with a 4-bagger possibility going into the 10th. Let's see what she does. Got a handful. Get up. No. Just watch that ball look like it's going to hook and then change its mind and just pick up speed going down the lane. Brutal pattern.
So there you see 9:59 for Ballard's Bowling Solution in game 1, 9:06 for Classic Greenfield. And this game going a little bit better. We are now in the 8th frame heading into the 9th. So we'll see how that unfolds. We'll go back to the action. Emil, take us to the leaderboards.
All right, top 10, we'll start with regular team. Of course, we just talked about the 3401, held by Nicholas Chase Pro Shop 2, of course. From La Crosse, Wisconsin in 5th place. Lynn's Lakers won, a team where Matt McNeil shot 792 from Minneapolis, 32-78, and in 10th, which just changed today, actually. Had a little movement in the top 10. 32-39, France Pro Shop 1, Waterloo, Iowa, of course. We talked earlier, the newcomer to the top 10, Badger Pro Shop 1, 32-66 from Monroe, Wisconsin. In regular doubles, again, it is Matt McNeil and Charles Michelle with 14.89. In 5th, Thomas Corbett, Gary Green, teammates of those individuals in 1st place with 14.39, and in 10th place. Just saw this happen actually a couple of days ago. New top 10 entrant in 10th, 14.18. Wayne Cooper and Dave Cooper, both from Pensacola, Florida. It takes 14.18 now to hop in the top 10 in singles. Again, Henry Teets III from West Allis, 800 on the nose. Just a couple of days ago as well, Mark Blasius from Terrell, Texas, 779. Also, Will Smith, we saw him as well do some damage. He's in 4th at 782, a newcomer to the top 10. And in 10th place, 765, held strong by Robert Hansen. Robert from Tacoma, Washington, and in regular all events, again, it's Matt McNeil, 22.02. On top of the leaderboard in regular all events. Nick Heilman again, 21-21 from La Crosse, Wisconsin. And a tie for 10th still, 20.89. That is Chris Gibbons from Madison, Wisconsin, and Tom Adcock from Decatur, Illinois. Most recently, Derek Sapp entered the top 10 at 20.95 just a couple of days ago. Derek, of course, a champion here, won doubles in 2003 with Sean Rash.
57 that set with Sean Rash, a phenomenal set.
From Keokuk, Iowa. And team all events. Again, S&B Pro Shop 1, 99.54. In 5th, Franz Pro Shop 1 from Waterloo, 97.95. And in 10th place, 5 Horsemen from Racine, Wisconsin, 97.31. And again, another new entrant, Little Bears Pro Shop 1, again led by Derek Sapp, 97.81. They currently sit in 6th place. And that is a look at your top 10 standings here at the 2012 USBC Open Championships.
All right, Kathy, come on. Oh, get up, play it light. No. I don't know if her right option would be to take more surface and move in and play that high flush shot that her sister has won 25 titles doing. That might be the way to attack it. Oof.
Another miscue as Jill Weber misses another 10-pin. Certainly don't expect that at this level from these ladies.
Yeah, I think most of them, when you catch them in a moment of reflection, be like, God, I got to make my spares. That's unacceptable. I missed that. You miss one in a 3-game set, a single pin. Okay, it happens to most everybody, but you can't give it away. That's pins you can never get back. That's 11 pins right there, or 21 on a double. Doesn't matter. You got to make those here. You don't have to shoot 750 here to bowl well, but you can't shoot 150. You got to shoot 210. You got to shoot 215. Looking at Carolyn right now, she triples in the 10th. She's going to shoot 212. So 215, 212 right out of the gate. Say what you will, but boy, does she grind it out better than just about anybody on the planet. You may not give her 250, but by God, she's going to get to 190 or 200 no matter what.
We spoke about her spare shooting ability earlier, and rarely do you see Carolyn miss a spare. And then, when you have that kind of spare game, of course, that enables you to grind it out like that and continue to pound the pocket. You get 9, but you make it, and at some point you'll catch a double.
I mean, other than Wendy, the 3 most prolific title holders in the world are not known for hooking the ball. You got Carolyn on the women's side. You got Walter Ray and you got Earl Anthony. None of them curved the ball. All of them played straight whenever they needed to for when it mattered, winning a title or taking over the lead or whatever. And playing straight inherently allows you to shoot your spares better. I think curving the lane is fun, and it may help once in a while. You may get a few wins out of it, but time seems to show that playing straight for the most part, particularly when you're bowling on patterns now where you start on fresh patterns and break them down, just seems to put you in the right place. The breakdown may penalize you a little bit, but you're never digging yourself out of a hole if you know you can shoot 210 on no matter what you bowl. So.
Here's Tennille trying to get back on track. Great shot there after the open frame, a big strike. And Gianotti looking to set up for the end of the game here as well.
Oh, clean living. Clean living for the Aussie. All right, so Winnie Mac up in the 10th. Got a double for 190. Let's see what she does. I'm calling strike with a trip 4-pin.
We saw Carolyn go light on this lane the first couple times.
Whatever. She's that good. She just parks it in the pocket and deal with it. But let's see what Carolyn does. She's clean through 9. Hasn't given anything back. Just staying close. She got a strike in the 9th. She has not struck on the right lane at all this game, so we'll see what kind of adjustment she makes. Kept it tight, playing for the high shot. Nope. Trip to 4. She's great at that. Just left the 9-pin this time.
Well, she has gone to a different ball late in this game. And that one, of course, as we talked about, a little more movement on the back end, a little less surface. So once it sees that friction, and of course, that one finished awfully strong, almost left the 4-9.
I think she'd be willing to trade that. She got a little tired of shooting the flat 10. At some point, you're like, I got to strike here. I got to make a shot that's going to get 10. And she made an aggressive move. Probably just need to bump her feet left a little bit, but otherwise I think she'll be good. Look at Wendy, though. I mean, most of the girls are shooting 2-4s from in there, and she can make the ball tilt and come back. That's really the true gift when the pattern forces you inside, is the ability to do that. Big surprise, Carolyn, it's 9-pin right in the middle of the face. So Wendy doubles in the 10th. Carolyn hits the pocket, played the right shot. Let's see if she moves a little bit. Goes flush here on the fill. I would think she probably would. But 2-1, 190 is a good start in this. Wendy with a ball change. And ball didn't really tilt like the other two did. Flat 10. We'd seen a lot of that on that pair, so I don't know if I'd say that was the right ball. Probably go back to one what was striking.
Now, interestingly enough, of course, she tried that same ball. I can't say it's the same ball. She might have two of those, different layout, that kind of thing. But it looked to be the same ball. And on the field shot in the first frame, ball boomerang left the big 4. That ball right there, of course, got laid off. Flat dot.
Yeah, it does make you wonder maybe she has 2 of those, but either way, whether she did or not, like you said, if it's wheeling off the spot really hard where you can't read it and then you move in and it doesn't wheel at all, I mean, generally that means the ball's doing its work too far down the lane. It's past the point in the pattern where you really want the ball to start to move. So if I remember right, she just threw it in the bag there, so I don't think she has any intent to throw it again. But smart to see. If you know you can stay close to the pocket, you're willing to get 9 or 10 just to see if the ball gives you some. She may have thought, well, if it big forward earlier, maybe now is the right time. But it just looks like the ball's a little too shiny for her as far as she's trying to get the ball to move from right to left. She can't seem to get the ball to do that. So.
Probably one of the best 189s you'll ever see.
Absolutely. Clinical. Jill, that's a good pitch. Yeah. She certainly has a great tilt on the ball. I think maybe she was a little bit too far right for what she should have been playing. Looked like they bumped her left a little bit. Seems to have an open between, but she's going to throw 4 or 5 of the last 6 and strike on all of them. It sounds like she's made the right move based on what we're seeing. Leslie, boy, throwing missiles there. Parker, you'd be proud if you're watching this.
Dude, if Parker's at home watching this, we've definitely made it. We've already, as we talked about earlier, we've gone international. We're on in the Dominican Republic right now. Stuart Williams is here from England. He came in just to hang.
England.
And, but if Parker's at home watching, that's the pinnacle, I think.
I always said if they never introduced resin, Parker'd have 50 titles by now. He was unbelievable. He still bowled great even in the resin era, but I think his ball speed and rev rate all those years without resin, he would have won a lot more. A good shot from Gina. Top 10.
With the exception of a few frames from all 10 players, I mean, they've been on top of things. They've hit the pocket probably at least 90% of the time, we'll say. Maybe even higher than that.
Yeah, and I think the girls are really good at that, particularly when you've got that talent, that quality talent, and that many good bowlers on one pair. They're going to get to the pocket. They're going to play the right part of the lane. They're going to keep it close. The ability to 5 or 6 bagger is really what makes or breaks them. The girls that can do it, they win. The Kelly Kulicks, the Tennilles, the Wendy's, the Carolyns, the girls like that who when we know it's good, we got to get in, we got to shoot 258, and we can do it. That's the ones that wins the titles. That's how it works. And Ron Williams over here. That's an orange shirt he has on. Nope. All right, Anthony T. Franklin is up on lane 7. You guys can't see it, but I'm going to give him a shout out here because he asked me to. Oh, playing hard and straight or hooking the entire lane. We're not quite sure which. Looks like Kendra's up on lane 1. Phenomenal style, just effortless, compact, efficient use of motion. She always looks solid at the line. Let's see what happens here. Oh. Just see the girls. I mean, they've won everything there is to win. They're still shooting splits just like the rest of us. It's a demanding, difficult year for the USBC. One of the flattest patterns we've seen left to right in the last 5 or 6 years, and there's just very little hold left, very little miss right. Truly is a shot maker's tournament this year. May not always be that way. Some days it's a rev rate tournament. Some days it's a speed tournament. But this year it just is, hey, you've got very little room to work with both left to right and front to back. If you can play in there consistently, you're going to shoot a number. If not, even the best of you are going to struggle.
And that's a tough break there for Kendra. I mean, she was on her way, had a phenomenal game going. What's the move here for Kathy Dorin-Lizzie here, Brett? What do you think?
Well, I would like to see a something dull, something with the weight block shifted out that would begin to tumble. She obviously doesn't want to move in and hook the lane, so we got to get the ball to start making its motion. She got the strike there, but that was pretty light on the head pin. May work, may not, but I would think as straight as she likes to play, as consistent as she wants to be left to right, very little deviation, you'd want a ball that began to tumble. You know, when you're playing third or fourth arrow, you need the ball to make that turn down the lane. So you want a ball with a farther pin, want a ball with a little more flare potential. When you're playing this straight, you don't want that. You want the ball to begin its tumble, and you want it to start rolling into the pocket a little sooner. That way you can stay on top of the pattern knowing it's not going to jerk and go high through the nose. So I'm a little surprised she went as shiny as she did, but, you know, she may see things different than I do. I looked for hook earlier in the lane. Particularly on the left side. The right certainly is different. But I think the girls sometimes could do with looking for a little bit of hook earlier and looking for the ball to kind of flatten out but tumble through the pocket versus trying to make it wrap around that corner. Even Rocio there, it didn't look like she missed that at all, but you can just see that the ball looks like it's going to hook. It's trying to hook, and it just squirts through that last 2 or 3 feet of the lane surface.
That ball seemed to be, or looked like a modern marvel, speaking of Kathy Dorin-Lizzie. Again, not 100% sure, but I can only go by what it says on her shirt.
It wasn't a blue hammer?
It wasn't a blue hammer.
Not a blue hammer.
That
okay.
we can confirm.
I'm not totally up on my new equipment. Anything made after 1997, I tend to be a little rusty.
Well, why would you be? I mean, though Classic Greenfield has wrapped things up. Wendy Macpherson finishes with 198. Jill Weber with 191. Gina Dershevsky 161. Kendra Gaines 201. And Carol Gianotti 202. And Rocio, the fourth bowler, she switches to a frantic and
that ball
10 back.
Really made the move in the back end. So that would I would say it was a much better reaction for her. Girl like that, you know, big backswing, high rev rate, giving it all at the bottom. You want to get to a ball that lets you do that. If you get to a ball that forces you to back off or forces you to try to place the ball down the lane, that's not a good thing for a girl like that. Somebody who's used to really grabbing on it and getting into a part of the lane where she can make the ball twirl. Oof.
Yeesh.
Full penalty. Story of the Baton Rouge USBC.
And it's funny, actually, that you mentioned that earlier as far as her ball roll and some of the differences of the other girls where, you know, if she goes high, she might leave it for a 9, and sure enough, obviously, we're looking at it.
Yeah, it's Tennille's ball roll is so strong. I mean, she starts the ball early. She gets the ball in the lane surface early. There's very little loft with her. And so she has to play a little bit farther right at the pocket. You want to get a little bit less of the head pin, a little bit more of the 3-pin with her. Whereas Carolyn would like a little bit more of the head pin, a little bit less of the 3-pin. You get too much of the 3-pin, you don't get enough of the 6, and the 6 goes right and around the 10 instead of straight back into the 10. And that's really where the wrap 10 concept is. If the ball's starting to hook and then lays off, that's where it gets too much of the 3, not enough of the 6, wraps around the 10. Players that the ball doesn't lay off, Tennille or Carol or girls like that or guys like that who can really make it tilt, they don't need to worry about that. Their ball is going to get enough of the head pin that the 3 goes right into the 6 and into the 10, or the head pin messengers across. Tommy Jones, one of the best I've ever seen at that. He throws more messengers across the lane than anybody I've ever seen.
Gentlemen, it feels like we just got underway here. But we are now starting game number 3 here at the 2012 USBC Open Championships. Some of the best ladies in bowling right here on lanes 1 and 2 here at the Baton Rouge River Center. Matt Canizaro, Emil Williams Jr., and Brett Wolf in the booth here as we close things out here. One more game to go, and we'll expect this one to be the big one.
Both Wendy and Carolyn made great shots there. Wendy back to the ball. She struck twice in the 10th. Carolyn looks like she changed to something more aggressive, and her ball really read the lane much sooner and much stronger and got more of the head pin. Leslie just straight fired that one through the break. Just That's the one rub here. If you throw it too hard, the ball never has that chance to read the pattern. Good shot by Jill there.
9-18 for Ballard's Bowling Solutions. In game number 2, 189 for CDB, 185 for Leslie Bone, 182 for CDL, 177 for Rocio, and 166 for Tennille. So the girls struggled a little bit. Looks like both teams kind of flip-flop score-wise. 953 for Classic Greenfield and 918 for Ballard's Bowling Solution. That team first game at 959, followed with 918. Classic Greenfield started with 906 and then followed with 953.
Yeah, we did get a word to some of the husbands. Jason Milligan was here earlier checking out the action in person. John Gaines is at home in Florida watching tonight. Kendra, of course, his wife, on this team right here. And Dale Ballard. Dale Ballard, as old as that man is, he is up this late. He is at home watching. He just checked in via text message as well. So, gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it, and the ladies do appreciate it also. So, thank you. And thanks to everybody for joining us here tonight.
All right, so Kendra went a little high in the 10th here on this lane. Let's see if she just gives a little more room. Great pitch. Still one of the most effortless approaches and arm swings I've ever seen, man or woman. She throws it fantastic. Oh, yeah, shake that off. Nice break. Kathy's thrown some fantastic shots and just got no help tonight.
Looks like we're bowling on lumberjack pins here tonight.
37-pound pins. All right, if you're watching, let's watch Carol here. Really moves her hand at the bottom nice. A little off balance, doesn't matter. That's what that strong roll will get you. You get that break, you get that miss. Now, had she gone high, maybe not been so good, but if you know where your miss helps, Carol Gianotti block going right. Carolyn Dorin keeping it left slightly, tripping the 4. It's all about playing to your strength. It's giving you that shot to strike when you don't throw it perfect versus, I've got to throw every shot pure, and when I do, I strike on all of them. Most people don't do it. Even the best bowlers don't do it. So if they can get to where when I miss, I get a double more often than not, that's the difference between shooting 235 and shooting 205. Yeah, Dell, some of us lefties have, milliseconds of genius when it comes to ball motion. So
Dale Ballard, the president of the IHL. I hate lefties. I hope.
Well, I'm glad I'm right-handed.
I kept hoping that their daughter Alyssa would end up being left-handed, but I guess at this point it's probably too late for that.
Dell's like one right hand is better than one left hand. So, if you're left-handed, we'll just tape it off and you can work on the right. And even Tennille starting to see a little bit of push down the lane. All right, so Carolyn struck. She's finally hit the right lane. Looks like she's had a pretty good look on the left lane. I got to imagine she shoots, I'm going to say 237 or better this game. I've seen her strike too many times in too many big situations to say it wouldn't happen. I got a feeling she's going to do something here.
Carolyn lets that one go immediately left and almost got lucky. Got the Brooklyn almost tripped a 6-pin. Like you said, she's excellent at tripping 4s. Apparently she now is going to expand to tripping 6 pins as well.
And of course she'd say I threw it terrible, and everybody would say that. But the secret to bowling well on demanding stuff like this is if you can get to a place where when I throw really bad, I get 9, that's good. If I throw really bad and I get 6, I'm not in a place that's going to help me. And I think that's one of her best gifts is she keeps herself out of trouble, gets to a part of the lane where, hey, I may not strike every time, but I'm not shooting big 4s every third frame. You don't see a lot of dashes next to my name. That's what a champion does.
Brett, I think your fan club over there, I think they stopped bowling. Actually, they're just standing there watching you do your thing up here.
Oh, Tony, did you need something? Just wait till you hear this. That's right. Tony is encouraging me to put down the mic. He says I've taken up too much time. So as soon as the guys are ready to get rid of me, all they have to say is, hey, Brett, put the mic down and walk away. You've had enough.
Well, we're always up for a little extra entertainment here in the booth, and of course that means the folks have to listen to us a little bit less.
I think they like that.
Well, I figured you guys have had several hundred hours on the mic. So.
Well, and I punished them last Friday, and Emil was out of town, so they had to listen to me alone for 3.5 hours. But had I known that you were going to be here, I would have simply just scheduled my day off for today.
That's right. Yeah, just hey, handle this. I got stuff to do.
Could have put you and Stuart Williams on. Emil would have set it up.
Oh.
That's it. Go out to dinner. See ya.
Beef Stew has been known to talk. He is very opinionated about a great many things. All of a sudden, Jill Weber looks like she's got a little bit more play than everybody else. She has a good, strong roll on the ball. She's moved left a little bit to where when she misses right, it's into the hook instead of just around that and pushing down the lane. So she may have something. But, again, I think that's a good example of, as you move in and the ball starts, you've got a ball that can pick up on the lane. By moving in, you attack the spot of the lane that hooks instead of trying to hold it off, and when you miss right, it goes around the hook. I think most of the girls, particularly on this pair with the rev rates they have, would do better to move in and attack instead of trying to fudge it up 8 or 9. This group, they bowl like good players do, whether men or women. Move in and attack the lane. You have that talent.
Something happening. So I was just looking across the venue and don't see a lot of huge scores, and then all of a sudden somebody's got the front 8 down there on 29. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's awfully far away, but I imagine the crowd would let us know what's happening.
That is a lot of strikes on this. That is fantastic.
Well, we've had a lot of people get real close, especially in the last week. I've seen a couple of 297s and 298s. I had one just last night, as a matter of fact. So we're about due.
Yeah, it's been a while. Our last 300 was number 17. That came on May 8th, I believe. So more than a month since we've had a 300 here. Somebody in this booth got awfully close after struggling a little bit. Mr. Wolf started with the front 8.
Yeah, it took me 17 frames to get to 279 before, and then I managed to get it in 12 that set. So bad bowling for a lot of it, pretty good bowling for a couple of games of it. Lick my wounds, go home, think about it. I took a positive out of it. I was 80 pins better this year than it was my last trip to Baton Rouge. So I figure in 2030 I'm due for 2050 or something like that. So.
Always take the positive out of it.
It's the best you can do.
Great
it's hard.
outlook.
You get frustrated and you want to bowl good, but I mean everybody has down years. I've had a couple of really good years. It's going to happen. All you can do is learn from it and not just let it eat at you alive. So see what happens here. All right.
So this lane was playing a little bit tighter
Deep
earlier.
breath, Dell. Deep breath.
And Carolyn throws a fantastic shot there. Crushes, leaves a 7-pin. So she's obviously figured out that lane and how to get lined up, get to the pocket. And now it's just a matter of all the pins cooperating. There's Wendy, leaves a 7-pin of her own.
80 titles between those two. Unbelievable bowlers. It's no fun to get beat by them, but it's an honor. They're fantastic, both of them. But that's what the good players do. They may not strike, but they don't miss the spares. Wendy makes hers, Carol makes hers, Carolyn makes hers. All those players do. Nice pitch by Leslie. Great shot.
Yeah, Leslie actually used to work at this event back before my time, so it had to be probably the 1990s. She said she worked at the stadium, I believe, in 1995 when that venue opened for the first time.
She's part of bowling royalty. Her and her sister Chrissy, Wichita State stars, married to two substandard bowlers at best, and Parker and Doug Kent. I mean, those guys are complete hacks.
Well, Doug Kent's actually about to make his first appearance at the Open Championships. Of course, on tour for a very long time, not eligible to bowl in this event. He'll be here, I believe, on June 22nd with another slacker, Robert Smith. So, looking forward to seeing those guys out here for the first time.
Maximum Bob decided to come over from Hong Kong and drop some knowledge on everybody. It's hard to see, what the spare counts are, but I'm going to tell you that this pair 1 and 2 probably has more 9 spares than any other pair in the bowling center. Their misses are close. It's 4 pins. It's 10 pins. There's the occasional errant shot, just like everybody else, but the vast majority of them are right near the pocket, and that's really how you have to bowl here.
Well, with that said, let's take a look at the scoreboard. We're now in the third frame here of game number 3. Rocio is going to step up on the right lane. She has yet to strike here in game 3, and because we're not looking, she's going to strike. That's always how it goes.
Dead flush, 10 back. Great shot.
That is always how it goes.
All right. Let's see if Kendra doubles here. Takes advantage of that great shot. She would. Yep. This ball looks like it's biting earlier and earlier on that left lane. Thank you, Dell. I'm looking forward to 24 consecutive months in Nevada, I got to tell you. Dorin-Ballard let me know that all would be better next year when we made our way back to the stadium. I got to admit, I agree. See if Gunnar picks this here. I bet she gets close. Nope. Ball just took an early.
So our gentleman down on the other side of the house now has the front 9. Or I guess it could be a lady. We don't actually know. But regardless, front 9 here at the Open Championships, definitely impressive, so we'll keep an eye on that. Emil's got the paperwork out already. They are in game number 3. Everybody in game number 3 at this point. Down here, we're just at the beginning. Those folks almost done, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Emil's going to make a run for it, so he'll be back with us in a few minutes.
We'll keep an eye on that. See if front 9 turns into 10, 11, and 12.
You might as well. Once you get that far, you might as well just keep going.
Yeah, might as well close the deal. Look at that. Shooting the 2-4-5, game 3 a team. Most people get 1, maybe 2. The girls, Wendy, Carolyn, girls like that, they just spike it right down. Not a big deal with them. All right, Dell, deep breath. She'll trip the 4 here. Deep breath. Oh! I'd be upset too. Must be the magnets that USBC put in the bottom of the pins. They didn't tell me about that this year.
You can't say these ladies don't have fun. So regardless of how they bowl, they're going to be entertaining.
We got Tina Stickney on looks like 9 and 10. Couple-time Team USA member there, bowling with my buddy Tony Franklin and his wife Jeannie. Dead flush. Stu will be proud. Gina looked like started it right in the hook, and the ball just never had a chance to lay off. It just started hooking immediately. See if Leslie takes advantage of her last good shot. Oh, hook. Nope. Boy, just the last 15 feet of the pattern is just lethal. You've got to get it started hooking the second it comes out of that 38 or 39-foot pattern. If it pushes 2, even 3 feet, it's almost impossible to get anything shootable.
Game 3 started off pretty well, at least for Classic Greenfield. And now at this point, we've already seen the way these lanes have broken down. The left lane hooking a little bit earlier, and the right lane seems to be a little bit tighter, a lot of 2-4-5s and potential buckets and 7 pins. So interesting to see how they adjust at this point. Clearly having to play their lanes a little bit differently, but trying to finish strong here.
Yeah, I don't think the lanes broke down near the same. They're fighting to get it to hook on 2 and fighting to keep it from hooking on 1. So, Kendra, great pitch there on 2. So she's got the number on 2. Lane number 1 looks like it just starts up for her real fast. So maybe a bump in and try to keep the angle a little shallower through the front of the lane, but get in inside just a little bit more. She's got the hand to strike from in there. Her husband, who's been known for grabbing a handful at the bottom, he's probably watching her going, get in there and grab a handful. This is what you do. This is how you win. Go in there and put your hand in it. So,
well, our bowler on the far side put some hand in it, had the front 10, and got a 7 count. So possible 287 here in Game 3.
Yeah, still an absolute truckload in team event. That's great bowling. All right, 9 and 10, Jeannie Franklin, my doubles partner at the Lucy Bonneau in July in Houston. great doubles tournament supporting breast cancer awareness. Any of you who've ever had a chance to bowl it know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, try to get in sometime. It really is a phenomenal tournament. Get to bowl doubles with everybody on the tour, everybody on the women's tour that's bowled. Everybody likes to bowl it and support Donna Conyers and her tournament. All right, Tennille, I've been talking you up. Come on now, grab a handful.
Well, looks like we got Matt McNeil and Chris Johnson jumping in the chat room here for the final half of game number 3. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Just in time to see that great shot from Tennille Milligan, a big double for her. She struggled at the end of game 2. She started the night with 236 and followed that up with 166, as did her husband a week ago. He went 210, 160. I figured that he set the bar, and she would hurdle that bar as good as she is, and we'll see. Just tough handling that transition, and especially with how different some of these ladies play the lanes.
Yeah, I think Tennille, she fights transition like a lot of guys do. They know it's coming, they know how to fight it, but with that rev rate, that tilt, it's very easy for her to 4-9 or big 4 splits that the guys leave, whereas most of the girls, when they fight transition, they can still leave shootable stuff. They leave a 4-pin, leave a 10-pin, maybe a 2, 4, 5 of it hurls. Something that for the most part is makeable. So while there's benefits to having that rev rate and that tilt that Tennille has, on occasion it does come back to bite you, particularly in the transition area.
Everything's hitting kind of flat here. And Wendy Macpherson leaves a 10-pin, almost at the 5-10. And then Leslie Bone steps up and almost 5-7s on the right lane.
Yeah, you just watch the ball start to hook, look like it's gonna really tilt and run through the pocket, and just lays off and flattens out. And again, that's the too much at the 3-pin, not enough at the 6. Wrap it around the 10. That's really the reason for the wrap 10. The flat 7's a little different. That's more just the ball bouncing off of the pocket at impact instead of driving through.
Well, no doubt they're fishing for some equipment here in Game 3, trying to find the right look. Of course, when they come for doubles and singles at 7 a.m., believe it or not, the lanes are going to be fresh. So normally you'd want to find out what's going to work at the end of team event and start there for doubles and singles. They're back to square one in 7.5 hours.
That's a rough turnaround. We've done that once or twice, and it's never boded real well for us. So.
Well, and normally that's not going to happen. Just some scheduling issues. Probably trying to get out of town, get to Reno, some flights and things. Able to find some openings on that 7 a.m. and there they have it. So.
When you're that good, you're like, I'll bowl in the fresh a couple times. We don't care.
Well, that's a perfect transition for you. As a matter of fact, next year everybody gets to bowl on the fresh. A brand new schedule at the Open Championships. We're going to back-to-back team events at 3 and 7 p.m. And there will be just 3 doubles and single squads next year at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., and 10:30 p.m. Everybody will be bowling all squads, all events on fresh oil. And you'll come out for doubles and singles for 6 on a pair. And you'll bowl all 6 games on the same pair of lanes, no flipping as we do now. So a lot of excitement down the road.
Yeah, I think that schedule is going to be exciting. It's absolutely going to be what you make of the pair. You've got nobody to take advantage of, nobody to fight around. It's strictly what you and the people on your pair can do. With 6 on a pair for singles and doubles, certainly with the guys, you can set up the pair pretty well if you're willing to work that way, to where you have a great look not only through doubles but also in the singles. You don't have to go to another pair and wonder maybe if the bowlers you're following are throwing plastic balls up the middle or trying to hook the lane with dull equipment. It really does put your destiny in your hands. You're not hoping and praying that you get a good cross. So I think it'll be good. I think in general it's the right way to go about it. The goal being everybody starts on, in essence, the same playing field, and it is what you do from it there that matters.
Well, we're about done with 5 frames here in Game 3. Let's take a look up top. And for those of you who might be just joining us, Matt Canizaro, Emil Williams Jr., and Brett Wolf. Live at the 2012 USBC Open Championships, we're here to watch some of the best women bowlers in the world. And we're seeing some great shots here tonight, and a lot of tough breaks, a lot of single pins being left out there. But that's all you can do is put the ball in the pocket and hope for some cooperation. Perhaps they're just saving it all for doubles and singles.
So we got Tennille on a double going to the lane that doesn't hook much down the lane. So let's see if our rev rate helps her here. She can get the ball to face up and carry the corner. Yep, great pitch. Absolutely pure. And Carolyn with an option to double here. I like her action. I think she's basically beat the pocket senseless all night. She carries a little bit. She shoots 720. She doesn't carry. She shoots 650. So it's not really her fault. She's doing what she can. She's not leaving pins out there, that's for sure. Fantastic pitch. That's what the Stars do. They get a strike, they come right back, they do their best, and they take advantage. They put a double up there.
That was a great shot from Carolyn. Hopefully Dell's still awake. He's in San Antonio for state tournament with his daughter Alyssa. He made the drive from Destin, Florida today. I know he's probably tired, but perhaps he downed an extra inshore, and he got a little bit of energy burst so that he can stay up for these 3 games. Dell, take some notes, and hopefully Alyssa gives her her ability from the Carolyn side of the family.
Dell, everything Matt just said there, truly from my heart as well. Tony Franklin finishing up his team event. He has thrown the first one in the 10th. We need another one here. He's probably not going to be thrilled with his team event, but it's all about how you finish. Let's see what he does here. Hook the whole lane, son. Oof.
Well, Tony found his way into our office a couple of years ago. He got the opportunity to talk to Emil. I believe that was 2010.
That is correct. It's when I first met Tony. Actually, weird story. It's when I thought I first met him, but I actually really met him years ago, and he was up coaching at West Texas A&M. So I was like, "Oh yeah, that is you." How about that?
For those of you that don't know, Tony and Jeannie Franklin, they are the publishers of one of the better bowling newspapers in the country, the Bowling News out of Dallas, Texas. Definitely check out the website. They have great columnists, Clint Dacey, a few other people, Leisha Murr, who write great columns, not just about bowling, but about life, the universe, and everything. But it is a bowling newspaper. Talk about a lot of stuff in the Dallas area, but also other parts of the country. Tony's ruminations that he writes in his column every week are a lot of fun. Very few weekly bowling publications. His is definitely one to check out. Again, it's called the Bowling News, and it's based out of Dallas, Texas.
I believe the Bowling News had an Emil Williams Jr. byline once or twice. In the off season, of course.
Pulitzer Prize winning.
For all of the news and notes from the Open Championships, the Women's Championships, and all USBC events, check out bowl.com.
Of course, to get the fastest headlines possible, is just follow us on Twitter. Handle, of course, at USBC.
Those of you that don't know, Matt and Emil actually have matching cots in the office upstairs. They shower once a week, do their best, but they are completely and utterly dedicated to what you're hearing tonight.
Appreciate those kind words, sir. And that actually was kind of true in 2010, believe it or not. I was there 20 hours a day, many, many days, and have taught Emil as well. That's what it's about. We're here for the bowlers. So we'll have plenty of time to rest in July and August. So for now, this is what it's all about.
Tennille gets it up the hand. Oh, gets some. Tennille on the 4-bagger now, throwing it good.
Yeah, she made a ball change, of course, and at least the first couple of shots, they seem to go really long, but now she's starting to get the carry to go along with those light hits. So
I think she's one of the few that I've ever seen that can move in like a guy does and take advantage of what breaking down the track gives you, which is if you can attack it from farther in, not only does the ball not lose energy early because it's going through the oil, but when it hits the dry, you can make it climb. Most girls, when it hits the dry, it flattens out. You 2-pin, you flat 10. Tennille, one of the few that really moves her hand through and has tilt down the lane comparable to the best guys, and she can get that ball to carry from farther in than most girls can. And Wendy's shooting the bucket minus the 4-pin.
That is exactly what she did on the way to her singles title in 2006. It was the bucket, and those were the 3 pins that she got, I believe. But she needed just 3 of the 4 to take home the title, and she squeaked it out by 1 pin.
I would get 1.5 on that. If you gave me 10 shots at it, I'd average 1.5. I can guarantee it. Dead nuts. Carolyn threw it great there. I said 237. Okay.
bowlers starting to finish up here. They're done with their team events. We've got some solid bowlers at 11:30. Chuck Gardner and Dale Warren. Ron Dixon shot 800 last year. Part of the Barney's 1 and 2 group from Rogersville, Missouri.
Definitely never a slow day.
Not at all. Always on the toes here.
Good shot by Leslie. Ballard's group, I mean, they've got 3 girls on at least triples right now. They can get through this frame. They got a shot of putting up a pretty big number here at the end. They've got quite a bit of potential for a good score here.
And Gina Darshevsky back on the strike train as well. She struggled a little bit last game, shot 161. Began with 208 now. Finds herself with a 3-bagger. Good to see Kathy with the 3-bagger as well, looking for more. She struggled
the last 3 have been
with Carey, of course, in the second game.
Great ball change. Yeah. You know, you make the ball change to get the 10 out. I got to get a ball out of strikes. I got to get a ball that finishes, and one little miss, that's what you get there. It's 6, 7, 10. The ball just really peeled off the spot. Wasn't going to be a flat 10, but unfortunately, you leave something pretty difficult to cover.
You know, I've heard a lot of folks say this year, perhaps more than others, if you hit the nose, if you go through the beak, you're not breaking down anything. You're not breaking down the big 4. I've seen a lot of 4, 6, 7s, 4, 6, 10s, and vice versa. It's tough.
Yeah, it seems like your misses
make it.
Oh, misses result in a lot of space between the pins you got to shoot. That's a difficult place to be. Rocio looks like she's bumped even further left. Gonna do her best to get the ball to make the corner down the lane. Old.
I think the ideal break point this year is it's right there for you. There's a rangefinder down lane at about 10. Inside of that, it's going to be hook all day. Outside of that, and depending on how you broke them down, it's going to be a whole lot of hang.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Amberlane type service where you have those targeting boards down the lane. Probably the best bowling on this is where you bowl not only at the arrows but at those targeting boards down the lane, like you said, to manage how far left or right your break point is. Between those two tends to give you the best overall look. You just have to get your feet to the right part of the lane where you can attack that. You don't feel like you're trying to fight yourself to stay between those. It's very easy to miss right of them, so you almost want to get enough left to where if I cut it, I go Brooklyn, have a shot at 9, maybe even a strike. If I'm not far enough left and I cut it short, I go through the nose and I big 4 or 3, 6, 10. So it's all about minimizing the damage that a bad shot will do. I think that's really where it comes into play.
Not the lead Daniil was looking for there. He's a 7-8. She left the 9-10 earlier, didn't she?
Yeah, she's had a couple of the baby-type splits. Oh.
Never a doubt.
Yeah, she's something else when she gets lined up. Carolyn just parks in the pocket, shot after shot after shot.
We'll let Daniil shoot at the 7-8, then we'll take a look at the scoreboard through 7.
That was pretty
Come
good.
On. Ah.
And there it is. Dorin-Ballard, big 4-bagger here. She saved all of her strikes for game 3. The number they're shooting at, 34.01 on top of the team event, Nicholas J's Pro Shop. Let's get back to the action. Great shot from Leslie Bone.
Double up, going in the 9th. That's good. Oh, man. The publishing magnate himself, Anthony Franklin. You guys are both great. Your husbands would be proud.
This gentleman is disgusted with you, apparently.
Yes, yeah. Tony feels that I've been on the mic far too long. However, he did get a nice shout out to the Bowling News, a nice shout out to the Lucy. Tony's a good man, one of my closest friends, works hard for the bowling community, great bowler in his own right. It's fun to have friends like that from all over the country. I live in Phoenix. He lives in Dallas. I have friends in New York, friends in Florida, friends in Ohio, friends in Michigan. Bowling's fun for that. You tend to see a lot of the same people all over the country at various tournaments, so it's great to catch up with them, see them, have a great time. Very few activities, I think, are like that, where you have the ability to look forward to seeing people that you may not see more than once or twice a year. Bowling really does that. College bowling really did it for me. There's many people I consider my closest friends that I met in college and have kept in touch with for 15 years. So it's a lot of fun.
I would totally agree with that. That's what the sport does for you. It allows you to meet a lot of people, and then most of the time you continue to stay in contact with those people as well as you continue to grow and move on from the college life, and then you end up, of course, seeing same people that you know, even people that you may have seen or just met once or twice, but you see them again, of course, at a tournament or something like that, some form of bowling function, and you usually end up talking just like you saw each other yesterday.
Yeah, it's one of the few sports I've played where you have that connection from people so far away physically. Other parts of the country, talking's only a phone call or a text message away, but it just bowling seems to encourage that. Neil grabbed that one. There we go. Great shot.
Just give a quick shout out to Mike Edwards, who won the USBC Senior Masters today. Mike,
Eddie did?
journeyman
Nice.
on the PBA Tour. He's been out there for many years, and now that he's 50, a standout rookie on the Senior Tour. Took home his first Senior Tour major today in Las Vegas. So congrats to Mike Edwards.
Yeah, congrats, Eddie. Eddie won a tournament we bowl in New Mexico in August every year last year on very demanding lane conditions. Bowled really well. So congrats to him. Well deserved. He's upstanding player, a class act, a lot of fun to be around, a lot of fun to talk to.
Senior tour is
I'm
quite
glad I'm 35.
quite the
I wanna bowl
competitive.
against those guys.
I'll tell you, that's a competitive tour right there.
Get my head kicked in by about 20 of them.
I mean, the guys who were mainstays before, and the gentlemen who who've just reached the age where you can compete, like a Walter Ray just recently last year or 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And
I think Pete's 50 next year. Frightening.
he'll be out there.
Guy wins every U.S. Open he bowls, and now he gets to go bowl the senior tour too.
Amleto actually won the first senior major, I believe it was a couple weeks ago. I mean, it's they're action packed. Hugh Miller's out there. He actually, I believe he bowled Mike for the title. Ron Moore had a dynamite season last year.
Phenomenal player. Ron's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Absolute killer on the lanes. Just a gentleman off of them, but just unbelievable shape. Can bowl forever. Bowls great on everything he bowls. He's fantastic. And now the senior tour is going to be like a superstar tour. You got Walter. You're going to have, Pete. Parker's going to be out there before too long. I mean, these guys are unbelievable, and they just continue to compete at that level.
It's so great, and again, it's Carolyn breaks up some mess there, only to leave the 7-pin. But again, another value, virtue of the sport that when I was growing up, of course, I watched these gentlemen on TV just as I watched these ladies. I'm sure you did the same thing. Now, of course, I'm younger than the two of you.
Yeah, you watched it on ESPN Classic.
To see them.
I'm on ESPN Classic. That's the
You are,
funny
actually.
part.
How about that? But to see them kind of make the transition, if you will, to now they get to compete on the senior tour. I mean, it's just so amazing what the sport gives you.
I mean, it's a sport you can start at 3, end at 93, and be successful at every level. One of the few sports you can do that. Most others are, short-lived to be at that level for any amount of time. And bowling, you can be great for 25 years on the regular tour and another 20 years on the senior tour, and you spend 75% of your life bowling. That's pretty cool. Can't do that with football or basketball or baseball.
I guess the something that would be equivocal to that would be golf. Well, they have of course a regular tour and a senior tour, and although I don't know what the parameters of the physical capacities, it looks like you may put more strain on the body from the looks of it, but they can last as long as well. I mean, heck, the greatest golfers in the world didn't stop playing until they were well into their 50s, if I'm not mistaken, even 60s.
See Arnold and Gary Player, and then Jack still tee off at Augusta and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, that sport and this sport both seem to have similar characteristics in that fashion. All right, so Carolyn needs a triple to shoot. What's the number, Matt?
237.
37.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
Huh. You know what, man? I feel so bad for Kathy Dorin-Ballard tonight. She has destroyed the pocket.
Yeah, it is. It's. You hate to say it, just hasn't been her night. Her quality of shots is on par or better than everybody else in the pair. Just hasn't got a whole lot of help from it. She's done her best. Did not get the breaks this year. Next year will be different. Certainly deserving. She throws a fantastic. Always has. But today especially, she really deserved a couple better scores than what she had. It was not for lack of trying or lack of execution.
Also a byproduct of the sport, the highs and the lows.
Indeed, you gotta take advantage when you shoot the big numbers, and when you shoot the bad numbers, you hear it, and people say why, and you say I bowled bad. There's no other way you get around it. Just it's going to happen. Everybody has bad streaks. Everybody has good streaks. Everybody has great streaks. It's just part of it.
Here comes the 11:30 doubles and single squad.
Working the way out now. Oof. Hold. Oh. Grab some.
There's one gentleman who, if they wanted to play basketball at the age of 50, I think he could do it. Of course, me being from Chicago, that would only be Michael Jordan. I put my money on him to be successful at it too, not just to be out there.
That's one of our favorite debates. If you could start your own NBA team with anybody you want, who do you pick? You know, and it's generally in the conversations I've had, it's either Michael Jordan or Wilt Chamberlain, depending on how you view the game. But Michael certainly made the game fun.
That's a
the
good
way
choice.
he would jump up in the air and just stay there, and everybody else would come down, and he was still up there just doing whatever he could. And you know, he went from being a straight scorer to learning every aspect of the game, defense and a fadeaway shot and everything like that. So, you know, absolutely is one of the few who can compete at basketball at that level. Absolutely.
And a ring 10, of course.
Took her out. Lane
took
1. Ugh. Dell, she deserved 237 at least.
Dell, you think Dell's still awake, really?
when you watch us tomorrow, Dell, when you wake up.
All right, so here's Tennille shooting at the bucket on the right lane. Then we'll take a look at the scoreboard as we head into the final frame here. Bucket, no problem for Tennille.
Nice cover.
And there it is. So a little bit of a tough night for these ladies, but certainly a fantastic warm-up, not only for doubles and singles in 7 hours, but for the upcoming USBC Women's Championships and bowling's U.S. Women's Open out there in Reno.
Yeah, the girls got a bunch of big tournaments bowl. Bowl the U.S. Open right after Nationals, so they got their hands full in the next few weeks.
Look forward to watching the finals. It's after obviously spent some time in Reno. You know what the arch looks like there, the biggest little city in the world, right there on Virginia Street. Lanes right there. That should be a very exciting, not only for the bowlers but for the city as well.
Last time I remember watching an outdoor tournament was when Rudy Kazmakis was on tour and bowled in Long Island, and just a walk in the park, that whole comment he made, you know, it's kind of fun. You don't see it very often, so you'd like to see what would happen. The girls, I think, will bowl well. They tend to keep it online, regardless of what they see outside, whether it's open sky or a closed building. They're solid that way.
Of course, we only hope for great weather on those days, and I think Reno's a nice city, should provide the beautiful backdrop that we hope for.
Yeah, having lived there for a couple of years, a long time ago, I always loved the weather in the summer. If you golf and ski and bowl, I don't know if you can find a better place than Reno for that.
So a good finish for CDB with 226, and that Wendy Mack finishes with 204.
Sure. Turns out that Dell is still awake, believe it or not, at nearly midnight here. And, letting us know that he believes Carolyn has achieved a 30 clean.
Yeah, I don't remember him missing anything. So, Leslie, great shot on the 2-4-10.
It's fun getting to make fun of Dell a little bit, because I know he would do the exact same thing if given the opportunity. And I did not take advantage of that in the 3 hours that I got to talk about their team event last week. And I thought I'd take the high road. And immediately after, I got a chance to talk to him, and he laid right into me. And I should have known. He would do it. I should have done it. But
turnabout's fair play.
We're making up for it tonight. Surprised he remembered what happened in the last 30 frames, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't remember what he ate for dinner.
Gaddard might be a rapport that you two have with one another.
Well, he did join us in the booth last year when they were in Reno, and he's a funny guy, and he can dish it out. And, well, now he's going to take it because he's not here to defend himself.
That's right.
That's perfect.
Nice finish by Joe Weber there. Parked the last 3.
And we're just wrapping up game number 3 here, the 8:30 team event. Emil will have the rundown for you as soon as they're done. We get some final scores.
Dale actually was on my list of highlights from last year. I had a chance to talk with him on a personal note. And so, a very nice gentleman, of course, for those who haven't met him. So don't get the wrong idea from the back and forth between these two crazy kids.
Dell's a good man. He speaks what's on his mind, says what he feels. You can't fault him for that. Whether you disagree or agree with him, it doesn't matter. He's still a good guy. Definitely a guy it's fun to sit down, have a drink with, let him tell you stories, because the stories that he has are, I mean, they really should be in a book. They're legend.
There's a good story. A solid finish for Kathy Dorin-Lizzie. She struggled with carry all night long and doubles up into 10th, finishes with 198. So a pretty solid effort here in game number 3. And, the brand new, hot off the press, loaded cash numbers now up on Bowl.com as of 7 p.m. today. So check that out if you're curious what it's going to take home a prize check to get a share of $5 million here at the Open Championships. You can find that on Bowl.com. Go to the Open Championships page, and it's all there and much more. These two teams right here, well over 2,800, so they're in the cash for sure. Always nice to take home a little piece of the pie here.
See, Kendra finished strong. 3-bagger falling into the 11th. Going solid. Rocio throwing pretty good. Last 2 have been, certainly the last one was great. I think the one before where she crossed over, but that one she took advantage and made a great shot right on top of it.
Kendra making up for a tough 10th frame in game number 2. She left it split in the 10th frame on I believe she was on a 3-bagger or a double, one or the other. Finished with 201 in game 2 now. Can finish with 223 with a strike.
So just looking at the roster once again, all these talented ladies, a number of them married to talented male bowlers as well, and some offspring involved. So I can't imagine how good those kids are going to be. Tennille's daughter, Abby, was here earlier. Kendra Gaines has 2 little ones. Carolyn's daughter, Alyssa, bowling state tournament this week.
Yeah, there's certainly some strong genes there for bowling. From this pair and going down the line, you bet.
Kathy Dorin-Lizzie and the Lizzie clan there in Ohio, also pretty talented. So Emil, when Brett and I are in the nursing home, not far from now,
very soon,
and you're taking over things here, you'll be talking about their kids out here getting it done at the Open Championships.
Carol G, dead flush for a 5-bagger. Looks like 256 if we punch. Is that what I'm seeing?
That is correct.
Nice finish. Tennille strikes.
There it is in the books. Take a look up at the scoreboard. 29-11 and 28-90. And Emil doing some quick calculations. And he'll have the final totals for you here in just a minute.
All right. Classy Greenfield finishes with 29-11 to top the pair. Wendy Macpherson, 576. Jill Weber, 528. Gina Dershevsky, 560. Kendra Gaines, 601. And Carol Gianotti with the solid 254 on the end, 646. Again, 29-11. And for Ballard's Bowling Solutions, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, 630. Leslie Bone, 536. Kathy Dorin-Lizzie, 538. Rosia Restrepo, 551. And Tennille Milligan, 616 for 28-90. And as you mentioned earlier, both well inside the Casher cut line.
Well, all right, and that's going to do it for us tonight here at the 2012 USBC Open Championships. These ladies are going to head out of here. They have to be back here to bowl in 7 hours. That means they'll be in the building in 6, getting things ready. And that's going to do it. Brett Wolf joining us in the booth tonight. Jason Milligan on earlier.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we always have a good time here at the Open Championships. One more live stream broadcast on the schedule. That's going to be Missy Parkin on July 2nd. We'll see her on that morning for her doubles and single squad. For that schedule, check out bowl.com. On the right side of your screen, the live stream schedule is there. Lucas Wiseman headed out to Reno for the U.S. Women's Open. And he'll bring you all that coverage and much more, so check that out. And really, that's going to do it for us tonight. So once again, this is Matt Canizaro and Emil Williams Jr. live at the 2012 USBC Open Championships. Thanks for joining us. And if you missed any of tonight's broadcast, you can find that on youtube.com/BowlTV. Certainly don't want you to miss any of it. It was a good time here. We always have a good time. Check that out and much more on our YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss anything from USBC. Once again, you can find us on Facebook or Twitter and always on bowl.com. So that's going to do it. This is Matt and Emil. That's the news for now. And we'll see you on the lanes.